Okay, what's up, everybody? My name is AK Rex, and this is something very unusual. And we don't usually do this on this channel if you are new. But if you are new, make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow the links below. I have some stuff included, as you can see in the banner. And I have some special guests with me today from various parts of the world. And we're going to be discussing and talking about Mortal Kombat, new movie, and the trailer. And we're going to discuss all the things that we see in the trailer and make our predictions. So, with that said, I'm going to take my mask off because otherwise I'm going to get really hot. Yeah. And we do have our first person here who came in. Hello there. So anyway, we're just going to briefly introduce ourselves. And guys, let me worry mostly about the chat. So if there's going to be questions, we'll leave that for later so we can answer them. Other than that, everyone enjoy the show, and let's get to introductions. So most of my subscribers already know who I am and what I do, since this channel mostly is about things like dinosaurs and paleontology, occasional sort of entertainment, games and things like that. But what they don't really know is that one of my first experiences, in fact, interacting with people online actually was on the website, which was the Mortal Kombat Conquest TV show forum, which is when I first signed up. And it was founded by this guy right here, diagonally or directly below Ryan. So his name is Hardy. Welcome to my show. Hardy, would you like to quickly introduce yourself, and how did you come to like Mortal Kombat, and when did you first start being interested in it?
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Well, it's all started when I first played Mortal Kombat 2 on the Sega Mega Drive. So that's most memorable game ever. So and then I decided, well, actually, before I started the website, of course, I watched the Mortal Kombat movie, and well, I liked that very much too. And then I watched Mortal Kombat 2 movie. Well, people don't like that so much.
Yeah.
No, we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. Yeah, there were some music. Music was good, but other than that,
Actually, I liked Mortal Kombat 2 too. So, and then the best thing that ever happened to us and ever happened to Mortal Kombat franchise was the Mortal Kombat Conquest TV show, the best TV series of all time. Some people may not like that very much either, but most of us do. So I liked this so much that I decided to do something for the fans. So I built this website and started putting some images, screenshots and video clips,
yeah,
and message board, and then a lot of fans joined.
Cool, awesome. Well,
Some of
it's one of the things I wanted to say. For those who don't know, Mortal Kombat Conquest was a very it's very 90s thing. Everything about it just screams 90s because it was just so characteristic of the time period and how movies were made, with the whole, let's just say in terms of the level of cheesiness, it's at about Blue Stilton level. But in case people who know cheese, they will know how this is basically it's a very cheesy kind of mainstream kind of thing at the time as well. But it was something that everybody liked anyway. Nobody cared if it was badly written. Nobody cared if a lot of things didn't make sense, or if in one shot the same character who was in the fight in a different shot all of a sudden is wearing different kinds of clothing, which happened a lot in that show. But yeah, nobody really cared. Everybody still liked it. So and the most important thing about the show was that a lot of the stunts, in fact, most of the stunts, if anything, were done 100% real. I don't think there was any CGI involved in this. So that was really cool. And even some of the main cast characters were also real martial artists who were doing their own stunts as well. I believe Daniel Bernhardt was one of them as well. So, but anyway, we're not going to go into MKC too much because this is about the new trailer.
Yeah.
We just want to briefly introduce the guests and then we're going to jump into the trailer. So, Mark, how did you start liking Mortal Kombat? Where are you from? And how did you end up in this room?
I'm from Canada. I began a heavy interest for Mortal Kombat at the age of around 4 years old. One of the very first video games I've ever played was the original Mortal Kombat for the Super Nintendo, and that just kind of molded my interest in gaming. And but what I loved about Mortal Kombat in particular was just how rich the characters were, and I loved the lore. I thought it was very intriguing. So naturally, I started to hear that there were movies about it, and so just watching the movies, I became totally hooked. And and then the TV show came to be, and I just absolutely fell in love with it, man. Couldn't get any better. And to this day, it still resonates with me. I love the comics and everything else. The games are just always evolving. And yeah, man, you can definitely consider me a diehard fan. I'm full of tattoos and stuff.
Let's see your Mortal Kombat tattoo, by the way.
Yeah. And collect memorabilia and all this stuff. But yeah, and lastly, I'm here now because as you've already pretty much mentioned, my God, what year was it back when I was in that message board?
2000, probably 3-ish, 4-ish
Yes.
as the latest. Yeah, something like that. So that's a long time ago. You were still a kid at school, dude. I
Yeah,
was
man.
like a college kid, university, early sort of years, probably college still. Yeah, I was definitely college.
Yes, and I was that pain in the ass in the forum. I would flood.
Oh yeah, you were.
Message
You were
board.
annoying like so many. Yeah, see, this is the thing. I was never really annoyed by you. I was just watching how this was playing out because I know that there were a couple people who were always like, "This guy's being a little jerk," It's time to, and it's yeah, it's a very It was funny. I was like, I think I was one of the few guys who actually got on well with you without any problems.
Yes.
In fact,
Yeah. I was a little obsessed, still am. But yeah,
awesome.
that's my story.
Yep, and the last one, Ryan. So, where are you from? What you're doing here, and how did you come to meet us?
Hello. So I am from Utah in the US. And I so I was introduced to Mortal Kombat to a friend back in the early 90s. We had Mortal Kombat 2 for the Nintendo, and we would just go and play. And then we'd set up these Mortal Kombat movie nights with friends and fight. And I nearly broke by kicking him. So that was kind of my intro to Mortal Kombat, and we would play Killer Instinct, Street Fighter, and Mortal Kombat. I always came back to Mortal Kombat because it was the best. Yeah. So not like years later, I started my own Mortal Kombat website, and somehow I stumbled upon the Mortal Kombat Quest forum, where I met all of you, and we've just kind of stuck together, and so that's why I'm here.
Awesome. So now we all basically came here to discuss this thing, which it's a big thing because there hasn't really been a proper adaptation of Mortal Kombat into the big screen ever since I believe 90s, because there were attempts to make some shows, very short sort of episodes. a lot of which were just pretty much repetitions of the same sort of scenes from previous episodes, and they were just being rehashed and inserted, edited, copy and paste, whatever. And I say it got very mixed reactions because of the character portrayals and origins. Obviously, as you know, fandoms generally tend to be very passionate. I don't like it when people call us toxic for being passionate, because we are passionate, we love what we love, and we're going to hold it to a certain standard. And that's just what you need to know in case you want to go into adapting any kind of fandom on the big screen or in a show or otherwise, and just be ready to answer occasional difficult questions and deal us as if you would normally do with normal people. I think it's fair to say that. Now, are we? How are we feeling? Are we ready to jump into the trailer and basically just go through it?
Absolutely.
Okay. In this case, what we'll do is I'll just share the screen here, and we're going to play and pause at certain scenes and just briefly discuss, because I don't want to play it all in one go so that I don't get into potential, copyright things. I don't know how they're going to work because it's Warner Brothers. I don't understand how they work with these things. So let me quickly share the screen. Trailer right here. So everybody should be able to see this. And let's get right into it. So I will not be able to see our camera screens because my browser is on the trailer. So if you need me to stop and pause, just give me like a, quick heads up. Just say, hey, can you pause, please, dude, for a second or whatever. So let's go. Okay. Well, hold on. So we're gonna see Jax versus Sub-Zero probably, because later on in the shot there's gonna be something very interesting, which is going to give us already an indication of Jax's origins of the character. So just watch this scene.
Oh, brutal.
Well, what do you think about that?
I think it's fantastic. It's kind of interesting when you see Jax right at the start and he comes in with his gun there. It's almost reminiscent. Kind of reminds me of him at the beginning of the first 1995 MK movie. But what I find cool here is that Sub-Zero is freezing his gun and pretty much doing his thing, whereas if you remember, Sonya took out her gun in that movie and she got it frozen. He did his thing, so it's kind of interesting how they just switched the characters there. And
he did that. What he did was, I think, he froze it, and then he took the top part of the pistol off, because it's obviously you can disassemble it that way, and he just took it off and completely just disabled it.
Yeah,
which is it was a cool move. So we'll talk more about the comparisons to the original as well, if there are any parallels, which is well spotted, by the way.
Yeah,
I did not actually think of this first time when I watched the trailer before. So let's continue watching the trailer then and see what we see. Oh yeah, by the way, speaking of, when his arms here get torn off, that's how we understand basically that the origins behind his steel arms and all that stuff. So it's different from the original timeline, and I'm talking about the very classic original timeline, that's where he just decided to get an upgrade with implants. And in the original story, in the game story, in the lore, apparently his arms are made from this kind of weird sort of metal that are basically, they're labeled and described as indestructible. But we don't know if that's going to be the same thing here. But I'm really curious to see if they're going to incorporate that as well, whether he's going to, make it from a material that is just going to be strong enough that he can beat up, cyborgs and all that stuff. Because later down the line, if this succeeds, I'm suspecting they're going to introduce the whole cyborg, Link Wei Clan thing, Majigi, whatever. Everybody who is into Mortal Kombat will know what I'm talking about. So, and let's continue with the trailer. Unless, of course, anybody else want to add something, because I'm kind of just being a bit bingy here. But if anybody else want to say something about this scene, or everybody kind of agree?
There is no sound. No, the sound level is so low. I can't.
Oh, okay. I can put because on my end it's a bit high, so I can put it up. Let me try this again and just see if the volume. Go. Did you hear that better?
I didn't hear anything.
You didn't hear anything, so the audio was not coming through. Okay, what about now? Hear that?
No.
Nope. It's very interesting. For some reason, the screen, I mean, I can share the screen, but for some reason, the whole thing doesn't play back. You know what it could be, by the way? Maybe because of the copyright, they disabled the sound. That could be a thing as well. They do that sometimes on YouTube. I mean, it would not be a new thing at all if that's the case. But okay, so let's go to this quick scene here, so we get a look at who I think is. This is Sonya, basically, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because she says, the target has superhuman abilities. So this already tells me that this is Sonya. Now, what do you think? I mean, of course, I posted a very kind of funny moment, but what do you think of the sort of cast for the character? I personally think she fits very well.
Yeah, a lot of people were kind of unsure about her when it was first announced of the particular actress that was cast, but honestly, here I think she looks fantastic. They chose someone very good. I mean, I love Bridget Wilson. I thought she did a phenomenal job as well, but I think this girl is going to pull it off for sure. Yeah.
I'm in agreement as well, and I think it's very important to point out that there's going to be a lot of these moments when people are going to say, "Oh, well, there's not going to be another Johnny Cage like in the Lyndon Ashby, for example, or there may not be another Liu Kang like Robin Shu's Liu Kang, or Sonya like Bridget Wilson's, or even Christopher Lambert's Raiden, who was not even meant to be Raiden because Raiden was meant to be actually he was meant to be the Asian-looking guy from the originals anyway. He was not even meant to be, the European-looking guy, which was quite funny how it got stuck, to people. And the same about Kano as well. Kano was not meant to be British or Australian. He was also meant to be, I think, either Japanese or something like that. And but they decided to, even though, the owners of the franchise of the IP decided to adapt him as an Australian or something like that. I think it's Australian.
It's because everybody dug like the Australian accent so much, and it just really resonated with everyone. So they actually started to just incorporate it into the games naturally, which I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's very nice sort of character to him as well, because otherwise he would have just been like any other, character, because he would have blended in more. But
Sure.
because he stands out, that kind of makes him a bit more characteristic. So, Ryan and Hardy, what do you guys think about Sonya's cast for this role?
I really like it. Even from the beginning, we've only really seen 3 characters so far, and I like it. And even Sonya, like when I see her now, it just it reminds me of the game Sonya.
Yeah, I think she does, and because she was wearing this kind of swampy green kind of top as well, which is very close to her classic look. But it's not overly the top, in the way that they're not trying to literally just take it off the game. They're actually just trying to, make it look very much alike, which is, I think, a very good way to make it look realistic, So my other thing about Sonya's cast is that I really like is that they are not going overboard in either direction. So they're not trying to make her look ultra anime kind of sexy. So they didn't pick anybody with fake tits or anything like that. And at the same time, they didn't pick anybody who's completely flat-chested and looks like basically a dude with, long hair, who nobody would even think was a girl at the end of the day. So it's kind of very nice balanced pick, I think. And it's very characteristic as well because she's a military. So it's kind of very obvious that, she's working out. She's probably, I haven't looked her background up, but this is kind of the same type of casting that I would personally expect to find, like the way they did with Mandalorian when they got hashtag we love Gina Carano. I love Gina Carano anyway, so that's why I'm always, in the support. But yeah, because she got fired from Disney recently. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, they picked her because she was also real life martial artist, and that's why her character in the show, for those who have seen it, they will know that she, when she did martial arts related scenes, they're close combat scenes and fight scenes, it looked very realistic and believable because she's a real life martial artist and she actually has the muscle work to back it up as well. So that's what I'm saying here. She looks like she's somebody who actually does sports and potentially is a martial artist. So Mark, do you know anything about her background in terms of what she does, if she is an IRL martial artist as well or not?
Oh, the actress's background, like martial arts?
Yeah. Does she have any martial arts background, or do you not know?
I don't believe she does, but I can't confirm that though.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, but I mean, the looks actually do kind of make it look like that. She has a martial artist look because
Yeah.
I've done martial arts before, and I've had a lot of, women who also did martial arts in our groups, and you can tell usually that by the way they, build, you can tell that they are very good at this. But anyway, happy with this. Also happy with Jax's choice as well. I really think that was a good one. Very nice look alike. So what do you think of Jax?
I think Jax looks very, very good. Yeah, there's that ongoing joke on the internet that in some shots with his mustache there, he kind of looks like Steve Harvey a little bit. But
yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
but in all seriousness, though, yeah, I think he's got the voice, and I think he's going to pull it off too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy as well for Jax. So everybody else happy with Jax?
He's missing the purple pants, man.
He's missing what?
There are times in the games, like there are certain games that I'm like, this doesn't feel like Jack to me.
Purple pants, right? I remember now. I think that was his look from Mortal Kombat 3, wasn't it?
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like that look actually. That would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would really, really give like a nice homage for that because they've got the metal arms and now purple pants would be. Okay, so let's go back to the trailer and see what else they show us. I think that we might see. I think we also expect to see a character that was never introduced in Mortal Kombat before. So we might probably see someone like that. But let's keep watching and see what else comes up.
That's Lewis Tan as Cole Young.
Okay, so I think this is the character who never got introduced to the franchise. Cole somebody. Although I first thought it was going to be Johnny Cage, but I don't know. Maybe he is a Johnny Cage substitute. I don't know, or why would they?
The writer Greg Russo already confirmed that nobody's being replaced. But yeah, I really don't think this would be Johnny Cage. I sort of have that feeling like you're implying that this character is actually going to be revealed in the end as someone else. Johnny Cage was commonly, the main one that people were thinking. But you got to think though, if they're going to try to be accurate to the lore. You got to remember that in the early comics, they confirmed that Johnny Cage, which is actually a stage name, his real name is actually John Carlton, and it's not Cole Young. So unless they're just going to kind of differ from that, who knows? And then people were saying, but he fights in a cage and stuff like that. So maybe, I don't know, like he's a failed MMA fighter and he's trying to make it big, right? But again, there's nothing with the Hollywood acting that we can see. But anyways, to get to the chase, the two most common ones, I think, which would probably ultimately end up being is Kuai Liang, who is actually the younger Sub-Zero. A lot of people are thinking he may be that. Or as you will see later in this trailer with so many shots of Scorpion, I think it's looking most likely, in my opinion, that he's going to be a descendant of Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion. So I really think that's what it might be. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for sure.
Yeah, it depends how much they're going to put in terms of the story on that particular line and what they're actually going to adapt. So, because, adaptations, sometimes they just take bits from all different things and they just decide, okay, let's just go with that. And we'll just have to wait and see with that. But we'll see. It's interesting that they decided to do the tattoo with the Mortal Kombat sign. So that's basically like a sign that, there's going to be a thing. And we'll see later in the video, which they'll show shortly, that there is apparently the whole tournament thing is actually like a legend, which up until recently in the story of the movie was never sort of confirmed. So we're about to see that. So let's watch that scene as well. So this is basically where they talk about, how there were different places in the world where they get, to participate. They're chosen basically. So it's not a birthmark. They get chosen. So I'm quite curious to see where they're gonna go with that.
Yeah. The female that you seen walking, that a lot of people thought initially at first glance that was perhaps Kitana, but that is definitely Molina. If you look carefully, you can see the two sides. And what's very important too, and a really cool Easter egg, is that's definitely. Oh, and by the way, they confirmed that that is actually Outworld. That she's walking in there. It's got a very, very mild, slight purple kind of tint to it, but yeah, that's definitely Outworld. And if
it's Molina, yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you go back to that image there that it was on last.
Which one? You mean before this one or the one after?
Where it looked like a painting.
Oh, okay, yeah, gotcha. Just hold on. There we go.
Yeah, that is a really, really cool Easter egg. What you see right there, that is the Great Kung Lao, and that is a depiction of his last victory. That's Shang Tsung that's defeated there on the ground, and that's the Great Kung Lao's last biggest victory, because it would be in the next tournament where he gets killed by Goro.
And later down the line in the trailer, we will also see that Goro does actually make an appearance in this movie, which we will see once we go later on. So let's if anybody has anything else, legends or anything like that, or do we go and watch the next scene? Ryan or did you guys have anything to add to this?
I don't get it. Is this movie going to be a sequel to Mortal Kombat 1, or is it a reboot, remake?
By the way, if sorry, anybody who is typing, when you're typing, please turn the microphones off because I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear that too.
Who is typing? Turn the microphones off.
That's
right.
Great.
Okay. So let's. Sorry, Hardy, say it again.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it was a reboot of the first movie or a sequel.
This will be neither. It will just basically be a complete reboot of the whole thing. So it's not going to be a sequel. It's not going to probably follow a lot of things that were in the first movie either, because first movie was, in many ways, was not actually lore friendly if you really analyze it properly. So It would just basically be a completely new thing done from scratch, adapted probably to either a combination of storylines from the original and the new timeline, or it might just actually go all the way from the new timeline. So that's what I think anyway. Okay, so shall we continue the trailer?
Sounds good.
Or Ryan, do you want to say something?
Oh no, I'm good.
You're good. Okay.
No background.
Right, let's go into the trailer.
Yeah, see?
I think this is going to be our Scorpion, because first I recognize the actor, because I know that he's cast as Scorpion, and I like him very much as well, because he's also the same guy who plays one of the badass samurai characters in a... Something keeps clicking. I'm trying to understand what it is. Right, hold on. Okay, so I'm not moving.
No, me
Wait.
neither.
Okay, yeah, I'm really weirded out because I thought somebody was typing, but now I cannot understand what's going on. Yeah, check to see if you have anything on. Oh wait, Mark, where is your microphone right now?
Oh, I'm just using my phone, man.
You're using a phone. Okay, so it's on the table or something like that, I presume. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very weird. Do you have any? I was gonna say, do you have any spiders or insects running around on your table, because that can actually pick up the thing.
Oh, sure. No, I got no animals or bugs running.
No
around.
animals, nothing. Okay,
No.
that's really weird. Okay, guys, sorry, but we're just gonna have to carry on like this because we cannot work out why is this going on. This is very weird. I don't even know if it's coming from me or if it's coming from Mark or someone else or anyone else, because anyway, so yes, this is our Scorpion.
I'll mute my mic, see if it.
Yeah, okay, so now that your mic is muted, it's disappeared. Oh.
Can you hear it again?
Yeah, and well, once you started talking, it started coming up again. It's weird. Anyway, yeah, that's what we're gonna do then. Okay, let's watch the trailer. Let's all turn off our microphones, and then we'll watch the trailer a bit more when we get to something interesting, and then we'll just go each by each because, well, what are you gonna do? Okay, reason why I wanted to stop here is I presume at this point he's not yet, Scorpion, and yet he is pretty well. Let's just say he's taking care of whoever these people are, just pretty damn well. I mean, he's obviously a badass fighter even before he gets turned, into a proper Scorpion, I think. So, what are your thoughts about who were the assassins who got sent? Do you think they were like in the original, the Lin Kuei, or the whole setup by how he was, framed? How Sub-Zero was being framed in the originals to look like it was him who killed, his whole clan and his family, etc. Or do you think this is going to be a different thing from the originals?
I definitely think they're probably just going to stick with the regular formula, which is in the end it's Quan Chi. They've done this already in Legacy. They've done this in MK Scorpion's Revenge. So it just seems like a common trend, and it seems to work with the fans. And I think it's a good story to tell. So, and I mean, ultimately, what their goal is not only just to make a movie here, but they want to make like a cinematic universe, right? So I think it could be a very good tease, say maybe an after credit scene or something like that, where they reveal Quan Chi or something of that sort. I think that's a good opportunity and something that they could do. Yeah, I think this whole scene is brilliant. I think, like I'm pretty sure you said, the actor they chose is spot on. The guy's a legend. He knows all the background with like the Japanese and all this stuff. So I think he's going to do the character justice. There was some complaints from some Scorpion fans that he was too old for the part, but I mean, look at the choreography of this whole scene. It just blends so beautifully, and he's still got it, man. Like, I think this guy has so much potential for this role, and I'm really, really excited to see what he brings to the table. And the last thing I want to add is if you rewind a little bit to one of the first scenes you see of the hut or of the.
How much further?
Maybe a little bit more. A little bit more. Oh, you almost had it right there, I think.
So let's play it, and you can tell me when to stop.
Yeah.
I'll just put the volume down so that you can tell me when to stop.
Yeah. Right there.
Here?
Yeah. Look closely there. You can actually see what looks like somebody frozen. That could very well perhaps be his wife right there. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that does kind of come off like somebody was frozen, like right in the middle, basically in front of the house, you mean, right? Between the flowers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Who could that be? How many people do we know who freeze stuff? Oh, I have no idea. It must be because it cannot be Sub-Zero, because Sub-Zero is sitting here with us in his business suit.
So it couldn't be him.
It couldn't be him.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, we probably know that it was not Sub-Zero, which makes it very interesting, because if it was indeed an illusion that Quan Chi created to make himself disguise as Sub-Zero, how did he adapt all his powers all of a sudden and become, very well versed in the ice magic, which is exclusive to Sub-Zero? So I don't know how, if they're going to do it this way, then I'm curious how they're going to explain his powers and where do the limitations come. Because a lot of times when magic is involved, I noticed a lot of franchises, they tend to frequently leave this line too blurry, and they kind of just juggle it around in a way that, depending on what suits for the plot, which I find a little bit annoying. I kind of like them to establish the limitations of magic in the universes so that we know where we, stand with everything and how the characters can deploy this magic. So... But yeah, well spotted. So, anyone else want to add something to this?
I will really quickly.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't know why that Quan Chi kept in my head, and so it kind of makes you wonder: is it the Lin Kuei, or is it like as Marcus said? Quan Chi's plan. And so I think that this is going to be really cool to actually find out what happens. But yeah, excited.
Absolutely.
Or potentially, his assassins who were basically posing as Lin Kuei assassins as well. Because we know that Quan Chi does illusion magic for sure. We know that he's capable of it. What we don't know is whether the illusion magic can transform and grant the same abilities, maybe not to the same level, but perhaps, let's say, give enough strength to freeze somebody to death who is like not a badass kind of superpowered character, but let's say somebody regular like Scorpion's wife or son, who do not seem to possess any kind of powers to, in any way put up a fight or resist him. So that's one of the things I'm wondering if they're going to ever explore as well. Okay, so shall we continue and see where this all going to lead up to?
No.
Oh, you got something to say. Okay, go ahead.
I was just wondering, where is Chris Casamassa? He always wanted to play Scorpion. He's pretty old.
Well, we don't know where he went with this. I don't actually know. Have anybody heard if he made any commentary on this new movie, whether or not he's gonna he was denied the role, or did he even audition for it at all? So I don't even know.
I saw that he put a post on Instagram talking about the new trailer. I haven't been able to watch the full thing, but I don't know if he has done full commentary yet or not.
Maybe they just prefer the Asian looking.
I mean, Casamassa, as far as I know, he does have a mixed background, but I don't know exactly where all his origins are, because the second guy that they picked for the Legacy series was Ian Anthony Dale, who definitely has, I think, a mixed Japanese background. He's like, he even looks a little bit like the part as well. In case of Chris Casamassa, I'm not 100% sure. I have no clue where his actual origins are. I know they're mixed, but I don't know if he has any Asian background. So... But he plays the role well, though, in the mask at least anyway. So that was as much as I could remember, both from the series back in the days and in the original. There was really not much to do other than fight, because in the original movie, which was my biggest peeve in the movie, is that they didn't give any personality to any of the ninja characters. They were just like, they are just bad guys that need to be killed as bosses, basically, to get to the next level until they get to the final scene. But I hope in this movie, which I think we're going to get anyway, as we see from the trailer, we're actually going to see more background on all characters that are involved, which is what I really want to see as well.
So, Chris' dad actually trained in Japan, so they may actually, I don't know if they are Japanese, but that's where his dad got training in martial arts.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. I heard that he does have a very, close experience to this, but I don't know whether that has anything to do with his origins or just him and his parents just basically being in Japan and stuff like that. So, speaking of which, I really want to go to Japan, and I can finally spell my name in Japanese, by the way. So awesome. So anyway, just thought I'd insert that here. Shall we continue with the trailer then? So let's.
Hey,
or Mark, did you wanna?
Mr. Rex, I just want to say, are you sure it's not your microphone? Because it seems a lot of the times, like when you talk there, it starts to get very cracky.
Okay, let's see.
Mic, man.
This is weird. I don't understand why. I don't have anything. I don't have anything basically going on in the background or anything like that. It's pretty quiet here, so I don't understand what's going on. Is it really like I can hear that something is, cracking as well. Now that you mention it, I can hear that too. I think people who are watching probably can hear it as well, but I hope it's not going to be too bad, because there's nothing I can actually do to fix it, because I don't know what's causing it. So I have no clue. I can revert to using a chat for a bit, maybe. Oh, can you see the chat? Just make sure that I say that. If you can see the chat, then I can occasionally just type in the chat.
Maybe try checking the wire where you plugged it in and just kind of like very slightly move it.
Okay. Nope, something's still going on. Okay, let me actually mute it, and what I'll do is quickly, sorry for the technical difficulties. I did not expect, because it never happened before to me. It always went smoothly, so I'm gonna try to disconnect and connect it again and see if it works. Okay, so in the meantime, if you guys want to just keep talking, and I'll just turn back on in a second, so I'll turn the camera off for a second. And
So how many times did you guys watch the trailer?
0.
No way. How about you?
I was actually saving watching the trailer for this.
Oh, excellent.
Interesting.
So far, it looks great, even though I haven't really been able to hear the sound.
Yeah, I think the director there, Simon McCoy, I think he did a wonderful job just everything is just looking so good right now. Like this, like the quality and everything, it just kind of like exceeded like all expectation. And I think it's going to be a hit for sure. I can feel it.
Guys, do you know what I noticed? I think this might just be an overall problem with the connection of
No, no.
whatever
Um,
unknown origins, because I've
um,
just disabled my microphone, and then, before I enabled it, before I unmuted it, I still could hear the crackling. So
Yeah.
I think it's just...
No, I'm pretty sure it's someone's device's software trying to filter out the other people, so the other people's sound doesn't interfere. It's some kind of filtering software in the device's microphone. I'm pretty sure that's the issue.
Yeah, interference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll have to probably just deal with it as it is, because well, I mean, yeah, we don't have any people anymore, so great. Thank you, microphone, or whatever it was. So anyway, we'll just carry on, because it's going to get uploaded anyway, so whenever somebody comes back, they can either jump back in, or they can watch it, the whole thing, when it gets uploaded to the channel. We're just doing it for fun anyway. So okay, let's just go with the trailer. So what we'll do is we'll just while we play the trailer, let's disable microphones, and then I'll pause at whatever I think is the next good scene. And if we need to go back, just let me know how far you need me to go back, and we'll just do it that way. So I think that might be just the best and easiest way to do it. So it might also be, when we have too many people at the same time, and it kind of, because the crackling right now, it stopped. So I think we'll just try to minimize this, and then if it comes up, then it comes up. Anyway, let's watch the trailer. Okay. So now this is very interesting. Now let's see if we can tell, who do you think? I mean, obviously we know that the blonde girl is Sonya. That's 100%. Now, I think the guy on the left of her in the middle is probably, I would think he's either Liu Kang or Kung Lao. I would assume he's Liu Kang because of the colors, because he uses this kind of style.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely Liu Kang. But I wonder where Kung Lao is at this point in the movie. Makes you wonder, because they're all kind of standing there. Because you can see Kano on the far left, and on the far right, it's Cole Young's character. But I think here in this scene, they're traveling to what's possibly speculated to be this Raiden Sky Temple, and yeah, I don't know if maybe Kung Lao was just kind of in that location where we meet Raiden, but it'll be interesting to see what happens for sure.
By the way, thank you very much in the chat to Peter Pan, because it's spelled not Peter, but it's like Peter Pan. He pointed out that sometimes you have device filtering out speakers, and that's why maybe it's the best if you guys have any like earphones or headsets, basically, instead of using the speakers like that. That can actually potentially solve the problem. Not guaranteed though, but it's very common. So in the meantime, while we do that, let's go back to the trailer and see what else comes up. We're halfway through. Okay, so that's Kano. Let's go back a few shots and see what he looks like, because I wanted to see another shot of him. Now, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this casting. Like, I don't know how he's gonna act, in the movie, so he might turn out to be really cool, which is why it's hard to judge from the trailers alone, because a lot of times trailers reveal everything. But I kind of would have hoped somebody a little bit more, I don't know, what's the right word? Somewhat a bit more rougher looking, because all there is to him for me is that he's got a beard and that's it. But I wanted to have somebody who is a little bit more. If you remember the original actor from the first film, like Trevor Goddard, rest in peace, he was really well suited because just of how badass he was looking, So I kind of would have wanted somebody a bit more like that, a bit with a bit more rough sort of look to him. But that's just my personal sort of look on it.
You know what? I know where you're coming from. Yeah, Trevor definitely had much more of kind of like I don't know, a more menacing, more of a rougher look. Um, yeah, like you said, this guy's got a beard, sure, but you look at the actors, like photos without the facial hair, he's just kind of got one of those babies or whatever. But at the end of the day, the director Simon McCoy did say that Kano's character in this film is going to practically be the comic relief of the film, because unfortunately, spoiler alert. Johnny Cage isn't in the movie. His presence might be spoken, like his presence might be like felt, but I don't. I'm pretty much sure he's not going to be in this movie because Greg already kind of pointed that out, along with Todd Garner, the producer. But yeah, Kano is going to be the comic relief of the film. And lastly, I hear this particular actor input a lot of improv. Actually, there's a lot of improvised lines that you're going to see in the movie, and I always respect kind of an actor's own take on that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how he'll play out at the end of the day. We could all be surprised. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good idea to give it a chance, even if you may not necessarily think initially that it might be the best choice. But we have to wait and see as well, because we don't see the full potential, behind this small skit. We can only see literally like this much out of what could be this much. So. Yeah. Any other thoughts, Ryan? You specifically are very well versed in the creative industry, as far as I know. So do you want to add some of your own input as well?
Sure. So I may be really picky. Kano to me has always been a tough role to fill. Like thinking from the first movie all the way through the games up to here, and right now I'm really unsure. But the last game, like I love that Kano, and then there are other games that I didn't really care for Kano. So I'm interested to see how they take this character in this film, because I want to like every single character. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've got.
Also, I do want to point out too, actually one of my biggest complaints with the design of this Kano though is you're not getting the full faceplate. You know what I'm saying? Now, arguably, if you look closely, his skin is really damaged there. It looks like it could rather easily like be ripped off or something. So perhaps towards the end of the movie, that skin will be taken off, and you can see more of the the traditional Kano that we all know and love. And I'm hoping so, because I didn't like that whole design, how they started it off like this, but nevertheless, it's cool to see that they did show, the laser eye like in full motion, that he's actually using it like as an attack and stuff like that, like the games. So I was happy to see that, because in the original '95 movie, you didn't get to see that. So that's definitely pretty cool.
I wanted to also say that I'm just glad that he's actually even included in the film, because I'm not sure about how they are going about this whole thing when it comes to which characters are in, because they've got Molina, but we don't have Kitana, and we can jump into this a bit later once we finish watching the trailer and we can get full screen, so that way we can properly discuss. But I do have a bit of a thing about that as well, which I'm a bit unsure of. But shall we continue watching the trailer, and then we'll get back to all of these little things as well? If everybody else is happy, of course, I'm happy to continue. So everybody happy to continue? Thumbs up, or yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, Hardy's outfit is just awesome. Right, okay, let's go back to the trailer. Okay, so we see something that I think we haven't really properly had a chance to see him use in previously movies, because in the first movie, we remember only at the very end bit he used his iconic fireball move, and the way it was just shown is that he kind of tapped into himself a bit and then he just went ham. But I think in this one, what I'm expecting, that we're going to see him use it a lot more often. So it will be more of a thing that he's going to have as a signature move. And in fact, there will be a later shot, which we will get to. I don't want to spoil it yet in case you haven't watched the trailer yet. But there is going to be something really cool related to this skill. So any thoughts on the fireball attack of Liu Kang's, and or how do you want to?
Yeah, I'm very, very happy that they're just kind of making this just look like a normalcy for the character, like it's a common thing. I didn't like so much how in the '95 film the Liu Kang didn't really show off too much of his abilities, maybe like twice total towards the end. I like that he's just like full-fledged showing off what he can do here. I think that's always refreshing and a lot of fun to see. In terms of his design, though, in this particular shot, I don't really like the white per se, though. I don't know. I think I would have preferred, like in the shot before it, I think he was wearing something different. I think that looked a little better, like the darker clothing he was wearing. It looked more similar to the games. But the fire effects, I think, look pretty damn good. What do you think of the fire effects, guys? Do you think it looks pretty good?
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I haven't really dug into the CGI as of late in terms of, I don't claim to be an expert in it, but I'm just going as a regular viewer to look at it and say, okay, do I think it looks good? Does it convince me? I think so far it seems to be very convincing. Yeah. It doesn't look like it's just very cheap edit and paste, but of course we will have to wait and see in the final product, because a lot of the shots in the trailer, they can be like initial takes, and later on, as they get feedback from people, they might sometimes correct things, because a lot of times trailers don't reflect the final takes that get included in the movie. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to bear that in mind. And in terms of the outfit, I suspect that we will see multiple different outfits for the characters throughout the story. It will not be just one outfit the whole time. It will definitely be something that is going to be changed a lot. Or sometimes maybe if his top gets like shredded, he's just going to go back to his very classic Bruce Lee imitating kind of look. So we might see that as well. Hopefully, I would love that, because I actually prefer the very original Bruce Lee look-alike Liu Kang. In fact, the very first game. That was my personal, that was my Liu Kang, basically, pretty much, because to be, even there was a joke going around how everybody's like, hey, I'm playing as Bruce Lee, because everybody kind of associated it, because that's what he was modeled after anyway. But yeah, definitely gonna look forward to checking him out, because I found that Liu Kang's portrayal, both in the games and in some of the media related to the games, they kind of slightly made him out to be a little bit I don't know. He always felt like, I don't know why, but he felt like a bit of a corny character to me. I don't know why. Like there was something about him that was just too kind of cheesy pop. I don't even know if that makes any sense. Like there was nothing about him that catch. Like it's like, for example, Scorpion. He's badass, but he has this crazy tragic story which just draws you in so much, and how he resolves it in the end hopefully would be very interesting. And the same thing with Sub-Zero. You have the original who gets entangled in the whole thing, and then he gets killed, but then his brother takes over, because you have this whole idea of passing on the mantle and the identity of the character. So it's not just rooted in one specific persona. It's actually rooted in the more of the identity of Sub-Zero. And then you have other ones as well, which Kitana versus Molina dilemma, which always kind of captivated. But with Liu Kang, it kind of felt like he's this generic chosen one trope, which just kind of I hope that they are going to give him a bit more than that. Like I really want him to have something more as a character, because he is a good character. He just needs more than just being the chosen one who helps to save the day guy.
He's more substance. Yeah, I agree. But I mean, of course, if this film is successful and they kind of do really kick off with this cinematic universe, we can't expect everything to be exactly like the games, like I think you might have mentioned before. So therefore, they could add something very, very interesting and new to his character. And in a way, clearly me and you in this case, we're hoping that they do, and they could add something just very, very unique that really stands out and really resonates with fans. So I'm very excited to see in what direction they're really going to bring Liu Kang's character.
Cool. Yeah, same here. And anybody else want to add to what they see in so far, or shall we continue the trailer? So Hardy, since you're here, do you want to add something, or do you want to continue with the trailer? Continue. Okay, yes, I got it. So yeah, he's trying to play the whole numb sort of, guy.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay, so a few things there. First, I want to go back to this shot, because I am suspecting something here. First of all, well, Jax's arms, they look badass. I like the design of the aesthetics. Perfect.
Magnificent. Yes, absolutely.
And I'm also curious, who is he fighting?
I know the answer to that question.
Goro?
Nope.
Not Goro.
Who that is, spoiler alert to anyone watching, just letting you know, that is Rico. Originally, when this particular actor was announced, a lot of people thought that it was going to be Shao Kahn. But there was actually a leaked image, one of the very first set images that they released, in the back, far in the background, kind of like attached to like a pinboard or something like that. There were concept renders of Rico, Reptile, and Goro, and so that pretty much gave it away that those three characters were going to be in the movie. And as you can see here, kind of like with the hairdo. Of course, it's not exactly like the games, but he's kind of got, something similar. But yeah, that is definitely not Shao Kahn. But yeah, look at Jax and look how his arms are. Do you remember one of his classic fatalities? Yeah, that it's not looking good for the fella in front of him.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good for whoever this guy is, because that's a fatality giveaway there.
Oh yeah, big time.
This is gonna be brutal though, but I like that. I noticed that there's been a few scenes where they show the gore and blood, so that's kind of in spirit of the franchise, and I'm kind of glad that they're not trying to censor it too much. Because I was thinking that if it's going to be one of those things that's going to have censorship all over it, then just might as well make it an anime and just get it over with. But it seems that they are not going to be going down that route, hopefully. So we might be in for a nice treat with that, at least. So there's going to be a portion of fans who like the gore of the franchise who are going to be satisfied, I think.
Yeah.
So shall we continue with the trailer? Everybody happy? Now, I dig this personally. So the reason why I dig it is because he's different enough from Liu Kang. So he's not just Liu Kang copy and paste and minor edit. You know, he's definitely his own character here. And if you notice in the next shot, there is a really interesting thing we see there.
Yeah.
We'll get to Raiden in a minute, but I like the fact that they are already showing us that his hat has properties to be able to deflect magic projectiles, which is big.
Yeah. In my opinion, I think one of the best designs and castings in the entire film, if not the best casting and design in the entire film, is what we're looking at right here. Max Huang as Kung Lao is just phenomenal. Like, look at that. That is so incredibly accurate to the games. And yeah, that really pleases me. And the director, Simon McCoy, said it actually took them, I think he said, like 20 different prototypes of the hat in order to get it bang on perfect. But yeah, clearly, conclusively, as we can see here, they definitely nailed it. So I'm very, very happy about that. You did also point out the whole deflection thing. And if you look carefully in that shot, just go to it there. Yeah. See if you can. Yeah. What does that look like to you? To me, that looks
Kano's thing.
Which is, I think, quite frankly, great, because I should also bring up that another one of the biggest complaints with this trailer amongst people was that Kano is walking alongside the forces of light, right? And that's just not really Kano's character. And hell, even more so, he's walking alongside Sonya. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But clearly, what this scene is indicating is that down the line in the film, he's clearly going to backstab him. And I don't think that's a big spoiler. I don't think that's a huge shock to people, because it's in his nature. He's a thug. It's Kano. He's the Black Dragon. And so I think this is going to be a huge scene in the movie right here. For people that are unfamiliar with the lore and are rather new to Mortal Kombat and just watching it on the screen for the first time, this is going to be a big moment in the film, man. And so I'm very anxious to see how they'll pull this off.
I'm really curious as well, especially interested in how they're going to play this out, because this is the same thing that you said. Kano is a very shady character. That's what he's all about. He's about shenanigans. He's about tricking people and manipulating. And that's what I think is going to happen. He's going to start off as one of them, and then he's going to probably try to backstab them and betray them in a way that is going to potentially do some damage to them, like set them back a little bit, and obviously going to piss a lot of people off, which is the point, which is what Kano does. He pulls shenanigans, he pisses everybody off, makes everybody angry, and then they get back at him. So that's kind of how I think it's going to play out. And we can also guess that it's Sonya or Jax or both of them that are going to probably somehow get back at him, because they are the grudge match rivals between each other. So it's usually Sonya and Kano that they tend to be the grudge characters, like the way Scorpion and Sub-Zero are as well, Molina and Kitana. So those tropes in terms of the adaptation of Mortal Kombat, I think they are pretty safe to assume that at one point they're going to happen at least once or twice or more. It's definitely going to be a thing.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see. If I wonder if Kano ends up killing Sonya's partner, kind of like in the original movie, or more specifically, where was it revealed? Was it the comics that it was actually Sonya's husband specifically? Did you know that?
Was it Sonya's husband in the new timeline or in the old timeline?
Old.
Old timeline. Okay, yeah. That would be quite interesting, actually, because that could also explain why she was, this kind of traumatized, character who ended up in the military, who only sees like this, because she was obsessed with tracking Kano down, because her quest was about vengeance as well, and not being able to see anything and being so proud that she could not accept help, from people, which was her big part of the story that she overcame, which is how she achieved what she needed to achieve. So I think this should be a thing. If it's gonna be a thing, I would be very happy, because that's gonna really give more depth to a character who is not, Scorpion or Sub-Zero, basically. That's what I think should happen.
I highly agree. Mm-hmm.
Also, if you guys noticed, Ryan is currently stepped away because he probably needs to go back and forth in and out because he's at work, and sometimes he was going to get called up. So if he shows up again, then we'll definitely get him to chime in a little bit. But at the moment, he's not with us. But we'll look forward. Hopefully, he gets back so we can hear some more of his opinions too. So, and Hardy is back with a different mask. He seems to have figured out his niche in the stream. So bravo, I like that.
Yeah.
And I also like how he just moves around randomly, because the stream on his side is lagging a little bit, but it kind of helps you to kind of freeze in different shots, like as if he's just doing it on purpose, which I think is quite funny. All right, so Hardy, do you want to add anything for the trailer, or shall we just continue watching? Let us.
Well,
know.
Kano looks like he has the same powers as Cyclops from the X-Men.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Yeah.
We don't know how powerful this is going to be, but it's, it still looks like it's exactly the same kind of thing. I'm almost tempted to assume that they just adapted it from it, because he didn't have it originally. I don't think there was a thing until maybe a bit later. And bear in mind that Marvel characters like Cyclops and stuff, they're like probably way older than Mortal Kombat characters. So Ryan has come back. So I'm not sure if that means that he's going to come back to talk, or he just wants to get in, well, because he got disconnected. Anyway, Mark, did you want to add something as well, or?
Yeah, what you were saying, in the first Mortal Kombat game, he kind of did kind of like have a little like eye projectile kind of thing, but it was nowhere near as like exaggerated or as intense as this. That wasn't until later on. Yeah, and for people that don't know, the design of Kano and the whole faceplate, I guess it isn't a huge shot, but it was actually almost entirely from the Terminator. That's where the designers got it from. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm really curious? I'm curious if they're just hiding it right now, so they don't reveal it, so that people can get really hyped when he peels it off and gets the full sort of face Iron Mask thing. I think that might be the thing.
I actually think you're right, because in that previous scene, yeah, don't go back to because it was a while back, but when you see him shooting the laser out of his eye, notice that you clearly can't really see his eye at that moment. So who knows? Maybe he had the full plate kind of like revealed in that scene or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it seems like they were purposely trying to hide the camera away from it in that scene. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. I think that's what it was. They're purposefully trying not to reveal the whole thing for us. They're definitely trying to kind of tempt us into, getting in there, be like, okay, watch the movie and you get to see it, like sort of thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure.
okay, so shall we continue to see what else they show us? We have just slightly less than half to go, and there might be more things, which we will see shortly. They're going to have some more costumes to talk about.
Sounds good, man.
This one. So we've got Raiden. And from this shot, first of all, I like the lightning effects, and I'm generally a big fan of lightning. Like, I like zapping things to death. Not that I do that, by the way, YouTube, just so you know. That was joke. Jokes are allowed, YouTube.
Yes.
Don't cancel me. Well, you can try, but different story for another time. But anyway, yes. What do you think of Raiden costume here?
You know what? I think he looks pretty damn good, for sure. And like you said, the lightning looks it looks very well done. It doesn't look cheap. Obviously, it's come a long way from the '95 electricity.
Yeah.
That looked horrendous. So
Yeah, that was definitely this typical '90s kind of special effects that are just so so
horrendous.
corny that you don't even think that it's bad because it's so bad that it's good.
Good Lord, yeah. And I remember the first scene where where Raiden, I guess, really, really shows his powers when he kind of blasts into the scene in the original with Scorpion and Sub-Zero present.
Yeah.
I remember like the lightning was like red and stuff too, and I'm like, what? It just looked so weird. So I'm happy that they're just kind of sticking to the more standard but effective look here. So and as we'll see a little later on, I think the design in this movie for his hat is perfect. In my opinion, I found the straw hat from the original just kind of looked too plain Jane, a little too corny. This one looks more similar to the games, and it's got a good kind of artistic look to it.
And based on what we have seen from Kung Lao, it appears that in this franchise, at least in this cinematic universe, that they are potentially establishing or trying to gauge, to see if they're going to be able to establish it or not. Hats seem to be pretty effective tools as well for fighting.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to that because I love hats. The reason why I love them so much is because they never suit me, because my stupid head just cannot wear them properly. But I just still love them. So let's see what else comes up next, because you said that they were going to get a close-up later, so I want to see if there's going to be a close-up on Raiden's hat. So that's what I'm looking at forward to most. So let's see. Shall we continue watching, or anybody else want to add something to this overall shot of the costume?
Sub-Zero over there. You should wear a pretty cool hat, man. Come on, let's see a good hat.
Yeah, bring the hat back on. Hats are tools.
Hat.
Hats are tools of destruction in Mortal Kombat.
Guess I'm good.
Right. Okay. So let's continue.
Go.
So, do you know what else I think? I think he might discard the robe, and he will be resembling more of his original look, like the white sort of almost kimono-ish kind of look of the combat outfit, like almost like a karate outfit, actually, if you think about it. So. But obviously stylized. Okay, let's see what else we have.
Yep. Yeah, see, look at that.
Right. Let's go back. Okay. So
love it.
It's amazing. I love the hat, and I also like, as I said, they decided to pick the original. So the original, as in they are bringing an actor who is an Asian actor, looking closer to the original Raiden concept, which is something that I respect. I like it when they're lore friendly. I prefer. This is the cool thing, that when you do an adaptation, the more lore friendly you are, the better. But so long as it's not making things too convoluted to the point where it just becomes a clusterfuck. Pardon my language. But other than that, yes, spot on design. I'm happy. Mark, what do you think? Are you ready to nerd out on the Raiden's hat design, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, sure. I think yeah, we can move on for sure. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, we will nerd out a bit later once we're done with everything, so
Yep.
we'll see how that goes. So,
Oh,
okay, I want to go back there for a bit because there was a brief shot of something that I am. Okay, this is the shot that I'm looking for. So, first of all, we get a good look at the hat design, and secondly, we get to see something interesting in this shot, which is from left to right. First Easter egg, Kitana's fan.
Yes. What is that?
Are my hopes going to get justified? Or am I going to see Kitana as a potentially surprise character appearance, which they're not even revealing in the casting, or is it going to come later?
I do want to point out something. If you look in the IMDb website or any other site that displays the full cast of the movie, there is actually one female. There's actually one female who is unspecified. We have no idea who she is playing, and so there is a very good chance here that it could be Kitana.
They did that with Game of Thrones when they were teasing, for I think it was season 6 or season 7. I think it was season 7. No, season 6. When Rhaegar Targaryen got revealed in the show, before the whole thing, though, they never announced that he was going to make appearance. So they just said, this name of the actor, unspecified role. And then it revealed that he was actually this guy because they tried to tease him so that people would not be able to look up if he's going to make an appearance or not. So. Right. And I think there might be potentially, it might not be, but there might be that this is what they're doing. So, yeah, but the fan is a bit of an Easter egg giveaway that there is going to be at least a good reference to her and she must make appearance because, let's be honest, Mortal Kombat, has a good balance of different characters. And one of the things that it does well is that it shows you some of the serious stuff, but it also shows you a good, let's just say, fan service in the form of really nice hot chicks who know how to fight. So I like that. I like badass women who are good looking and who know how to fight. I like that very much.
Can't complain.
No, I'm not going to complain. If they do it, I'm definitely going to be very happy. So, in fact, I'm more than happy with the fact that they're already, MK franchise as a whole already has a lot of characters that fit this description. And, everything else, it's like there is something for everybody. So nobody should really be complaining there, in my opinion. But anyway, next one, we see this is Kano. So this is potentially the early maybe shots of the movie because he's next to Liu Kang, basically on the left, next to the Kitana's fan. And I think this is probably, if he decides to betray them later, this is the time when he's not yet betrayed them, I think. Probably. So unless this is going to be like way later, but I don't know how they're going to play this out. But yeah, I'm suspecting that because Kano is not going to stay the good guy. Like, not a chance.
Hell no. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think this is fairly early in the film because if you look at Ko Young's character, he's wearing like jeans and a t-shirt. You know what I mean? Like, like he doesn't have his full costume yet. So definitely, I think this is pretty early on. I wonder if this is the Sky Temple, though, like in the games, so it'll be interesting to see. But yeah,
I am interested to see what they're going to bring in, like in terms of the key locations. If there's going to be a lot of sendbacks, to the original places, because they have to do some of it for sure. Because without that, I mean, come on, like there's got to be something.
Oh yeah, if you have a Mortal Kombat movie without like any of some of the signature stages from the game, that's just, I think, literally every
waste of potential, yeah.
So, yeah, they'll definitely throw in some stuff. What I think would be pretty damn cool, in my opinion, would be like the Deadpool. You know what I mean? That would be sick. And doing like
where with the acid thing, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. And they could do some really cool scenes where they try to throw each other in there and have like random useless henchmen where they get tossed in there because, come on. Mortal Kombat without the main badass characters who are almost immune, who almost have plot armor until the story tells you otherwise, versus a bunch of useless henchmen who just get tossed around and, basically they become like target practices for fatalities and special moves. Yeah, come on. We know that's going to happen, right? So we're definitely going to see some of this slaughtering going on so that we can build up to when the characters start colliding and start, fighting each other before they get to do that. So they're going to give them a chance to display their powers first.
Yeah.
So looking, great stance, great costume from here, as you brought up earlier on. This seems to be his thing. So I think this is where we're going to be seeing.
Yeah.
And he might go topless potentially, which would be more closer to his gameless look. So we'll see what happens there. Then Raiden seems to have a staff, I think, which was, I think, his original idea. It looks like it's a staff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Raiden is basically going to be the lightning wizard in this game. And he's got the hat, so why not? Now, let's see who else. Kung Lao, badass as ever. I love the shot. I think you were right that Kung Lao is probably going to be the coolest character on this side of the cast anyway. So definitely happy with that. Sonya, as you can tell, as I said before, you see she's quite built. So definitely looks like a martial artist to me. And I'm personally happy. So what did you want to add?
Do you know what I noticed? I just noticed it now. I find Sonya's look here, it almost slightly resembles her Mortal Kombat 4 look a little bit. So I quite like that. I think she looks pretty good. Mm-hmm.
I like that too as well, because even though Mortal Kombat 4 has a bit of a quirky kind of look when they were just first experimenting with 3D, some ideas for the costumes, if they are implemented properly, they could actually look very nice. And I think this might be the way to kind of go about it. This is a very nice kind of grounded, realistic look, but resembles her as well. So if you manage to work this out, I'm sure there are other people in the fandom who will definitely find a way to link this to Mortal Kombat 4. Because let's be honest, as much as many people seem to give crap, a lot of hate to Mortal Kombat 4, it could still use a little bit of, callback, because it introduced some of the characters that were very nicely introduced in the storyline as a whole. And there's a lot of argument to be made whether the story itself should have concluded on Mortal Kombat 4 or whether it should have gone further than that. But we can definitely debate that some other time, because that's a very long conversation. So if everybody is happy, we can continue while Hardy entertains us on the background while he drinks and shows his masks off and all that stuff. The classic Estonian sort of presence. So he's trying to show us something. What is he trying to show us? What are you trying to show us?
You didn't find a hat yet.
I'm just to charge my phone. So,
okay.
I'm
Trying to...
battery.
Okay, cool. If you need to, if you get disconnected, just reconnect again through the link that I sent. So no about it.
No, it's charging now.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So let's continue and see what else the trailer shows us. We're almost at the end part of it.
Sounds good.
Whoa. Now, just a few seconds. Just really need to... Okay, this is better. Now, that's definitely Scorpion. Because it's fire, and fire is Scorpion's thing. And the other thing that I'm noticing about it is that he's got a short sword, which is either an imitation of wakizashi or it could just be a tanto. And he has a Japanese stylized kind of armor.
Yep.
Which resembles a later time period of Sengoku Jidai samurai armor, where they started introducing the full breastplate, which they adapted from the Western people who were visiting at the time, mostly Portuguese. So that's definitely a stylized adaptation of that design, which I generally like. I like that they're going for something grounded. What I will, however, point out is that you see there are like these ridges that kind of go at an angle, right? And I would like it if they've used some of the space on the armor to kind of paint it to resemble his original classic costume a bit more, so that you would have like certain area here that would be black on the top, or like go, like say go like black here, and then the yellow sort of bronze or gold would go like this way, for example, right? Like sort of connecting and then go to the center. So that would kind of, I think, give him a bit more of that classic look. But we'll see later on when the trailer shows us a more clear image. Oh, this is clearly Scorpion. That's no longer, the same guy that was, in the first few shots. That's being basically reincarnated as Scorpion now.
That's correct. Yeah, he's no longer Hazo Osashi.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how that works out. I'm curious to see the fights, especially because Scorpion is my favorite character, and I really hope that we get to see some badass craziness going on. And Ryan is back, so Ryan, perfect timing. What do you think of this Scorpion design?
I actually really love it. Scorpion and Sub-Zero have always been my favorites. And of course, that's the way with a lot of the Mortal Kombat community. But this is actually really cool. I'm glad I came back at this time. Awesome.
Yeah, I really like as I was saying earlier on to everyone before I noticed that you jumped back in. I love the fact that they're trying to connect it more to the Japanese sort of cultural attributes, like the samurai armor of the later Sengoku Jidai, which I really love as well because I'm a Japanese, I like everything Japanese, and especially when it comes to samurai. So for me, for them connecting it to that, it's like a big, massive thumbs up for me, basically. That's like, if you want to draw me in already, I'm already intrigued for that. And Scorpion is also my favorite character and is played by an actor who is also a very cool Japanese actor who appeared in the 2003 Last Samurai. He also has his own sort of, central, where he plays a central role movie called The Moonlight Samurai, which I have yet to watch. So if anybody watched that movie, let me know in the comments if it's a good film or not, but I'm definitely going to watch it as well. So really curious to see where this goes. So let's see what's the next shot, because I think we're going to see some Sub-Zero short as well. I'm looking forward to seeing Sub-Zero. This guy. Who do you think that is?
Who we just seen? Yeah, that's Scorpion. But if you look in the back, it kind of looks like this shot is in the nether realm here. That's kind of cool.
That's what I was going to say. It looks like it's him basically already reincarnated as Scorpion, but of course with his face and everything. But the location here is going to be the key thing as well. So let's see what else happens. So we saw some shots going on, so let's find out. Okay, so this looks like Luke. No, this is Kung Lao actually. He's holding a hat. You see on the left side. So that's Kung Lao basically fighting somebody. So
it almost looks like Cole Young. But my question is, why the hell are they fighting? Are they just training?
Yeah, is it a training match or are they actually legit fighting? That's a curious one.
That's strange. Yeah, interesting.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting. So this is Molina. Because, well, first you can tell by the fangs, second you can tell by the side dagger. That's her signature thing. And I noticed also that I believe they cast a black actress. and this is something I'm going to be interested to see how they're going to resolve depending on how they cast Kitana and whether or not they're going to make Molina give her the story of whether she is the clone of Kitana or whether she's going to have a completely different origin, like maybe make her just like a Tarkatan or whatever, and that would be the end of it. So, because in case of Kitana, as far as we know, Kitana does not, she could be potentially cast as an Asian, so she could be like the Asian-looking character, but as far as we know, she was not black. We know that Jade was black because we've seen all of the interpretations. Jade was being portrayed as far as I know, Mark, correct me, you are better at the lore. So was Jade always played as a black character, or was she changed at some point in the games?
Yeah, that's correct. She was always darker skin tone, absolutely, ever since she first appeared in the franchise. Yes. Excuse me.
No worries.
But like you pointed out, though, yeah, it's interesting how they chose an African American to play Molina, but nevertheless, I believe the actress's name is Cece Stringer. She could just bring something new to the table, make it her own. I'm very excited to see what she will do, and like you said, I'm interested to see what Kitana is going to look like, whether she's in this movie or the next movie, because like you said, we're just kind of used to her, her background, she just being Asian, stuff like that. So it's something very different. But nevertheless, I think, one of the biggest complaints actually about Molina, though, more so, was the fact that if you look at her teeth, it almost looks too human-like. It's not quite as she doesn't quite have the sharp fangs or per se that she does.
Not a classic Tarkatan, yeah.
Yeah. So like you said, who knows? Maybe they'll kind of deviate from the whole being Kitana's clone per se. I don't know. It's really hard to say.
There are several ways to do it. They can either make her just a generic sort of outworld, kind of new sort of outworld race of some kind, which would be similar to Tarkatan, or maybe she could be a Tarkatan, but not just doesn't have extreme features like the classic Tarkatan look. So that will be determined, of course, depending if we see any other Tarkatan generic appearances, or which I also doubt, but whether or not Baraka might make any appearances, but I don't think he will, because I haven't seen anything on Baraka, not that I remember anyway for this movie. So we can potentially expect him to appear in a sequel. If there's going to be a universe set up, then he might come up in a sequel. But and in the lore as well, he appears later. He doesn't appear immediately as well. He doesn't show up from the first tournament. He usually shows up during the first tournament. He was kind of more in the shadows, but he only came out more towards the later, prior to the second sort of tournament / whatever it was, invasion. Depends on how you look at it, because obviously Shao Kahn always finds ways to give himself excuses to continue to do his shenanigans, because that's Shao Kahn. So yeah, I don't have a problem with it in isolation. What I will have maybe a bit of a question is that how they're going, if they're going to go for Kitana and give her the classic look. So basically, if Kitana is going to be made to look like an Asian girl, or if she's going to be like a regular European-looking girl, or a Latina girl, kind of whatever, because she has black hair, so she will probably look like somebody who would either be of either Asian descent, or if not Asian, she would be of Italian or maybe like Hispanic kind of descent to fit the looks. But if they're going to go with that, where are they going to implement them being related? And if they are going to implement that, how are they going to explain that as well? That would be another interesting thing. And if none of that happens, if Kitana does appear, whether or not that means that they might just have Kitana basically be played by a black actress, which I wouldn't have any major problem with. But of course, it depends on what's going to happen. How they're going to explain it and what's it going to look like. In the final product, because of course I prioritize the story, but I do like my characters to be more lore friendly. So it will depend on how much that will happen. For example, I have more problem with them casting different looking actors for the Witcher TV show, because Fringilla Vigo, for those who've seen the Witcher show, is cast with a black actress, but in the books she's not black, and this also creates a lot of problems in the lore, because there are certain scenes in the books that they might potentially adapt, which play some kind of part in how the characters interact between each other, and it has some implications, basically, because I don't want to spoil it. So that's where it kind of comes up, because when it becomes lore unfriendly in that sort of way, when it starts kind of causing problems and you start breaking consistencies and things like that, that's where I have a problem. But Mortal Kombat is a bit more flexible in that way, which is why I think they might get away with it. So we'll have to wait and see. So, but otherwise, no, I have no problem with that. I think she seems to be very into it, based on the shot as well. I like that sort of, thing. So it's really kind of Molina-esque. It's very characteristic of her to be basically, she's this kind of weird, kinky, kind of predatory character who, you're not sure whether she just compliments you on something or whether she just thinks that she's gonna eat you alive right now and here and then, whatever. That's just basically, that's Molina in a nutshell. So it's just like one of those weird characters, which I think is gonna be a very interesting one. I noticed though that everything so far, she dressed all in black, so I wonder if they're gonna actually give her a purple or anything like characteristic of her clothing, because I would like to see more of that as well. So
it's funny you mentioned that, because actually other than like the teeth, that's my biggest complaint, like you said, is the color scheme here. We're so used to her being like fuchsia there, so it's just a big difference. But I do want to state though that Todd Garner, the producer, did mention on social media that there's still more to her, to Molina's mouth, though. Like, this isn't all of it. He did say that you're still going to see a lot more than just this. And if you look extremely closely at her teeth, you can kind of see like layers. So it could very well, maybe perhaps just extend more and stuff like that. But yeah.
I'm curious here as well, because also if you look at her sides as well, the corners of the mouth, it looks like it might actually potentially expand a bit more, as the mouth opens, it might deform, So that would be an interesting one to see.
It's very good you brought that up, because upon close inspection last night, I also noticed, like, towards the last few milliseconds of this particular scene, if you look extremely closely, you can actually see kind of like the creases of her mouth, kind of like, it's kind of like stretching, and it kind of, so it's something to look out for. There's definitely a lot more than what meets the eye here, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's see what else happens here. Maybe we might see some more cool shots.
Like that is perfection, like, I can't believe how well they got that statue. That is quite clearly his MK11 appearance, but it's just so damn good. I wonder if we'll actually see him, like, in person in this movie at all. I have a feeling though they're going to save that for the sequel though. What do you think?
I am thinking that this could potentially be a good tie-up with how they might do post-credits scene, potentially, that you brought up as a thing that might happen in a post-credits. Shao Kahn could be the sort of appearance for that, like Thanos in some cases was in MCU, so we could see something similar building up basically to us meeting Shao Kahn. So I think Shao Kahn is going to be this kind of badass character who's going to be teased a lot, and eventually we might somehow see him. But that's my expectation and prediction. I don't know whether he's going to actually, maybe we might even see him more often in the movie. It's just the trailer is just teasing it, but I am quite curious how they're going to handle his character, because I actually really like his character in the sense that he's badass. First of all, he's this brutal sort of fighter who just like he doesn't have finesse and perfection in his techniques. He just relies on brute power. He just basically slams you and sends you flying like across the room, basically. And that's what I'm kind of curious to see if we ever gonna see Shao Kahn in this movie universe. I want to see how he fights. I'm specifically curious to see who will be the people who will fight him and how many of them will die at his hands before there will be one who will defeat him. So that's what I'm really curious to see as well.
Very true. Very true.
So let's. Anything else to talk about here, or shall we continue? This, I know for a fact, is probably Shang Tsung. Or so he looks like, at least. What do you think? Do you think this is Shang Tsung?
That is most definitely Shang Tsung.
Looks
When they
Looks
revealed
like
the character. Oh, go ahead.
just to me, my first impression was looks like someone's mother. Looks like a woman.
That's the most random thing I've heard this whole stream.
I love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, we definitely need somebody like this. It's like the moment he turns his mic on, you're like, what is he gonna say now? What's he gonna say?
That's good. Yeah.
No, but yeah, that's definitely, you can see that he's wearing this kind of ornamented armor, probably of some sort, or it's like something like that. I don't know if he's gonna actually use it when he fights. I'm expecting we might see him fight in this movie, I would assume. Because if they're gonna go with a classic, then I would expect that Liu Kang is gonna be fighting Shang Tsung, because they are like the grudge sort of arch nemesis between each other. So there is a lot of, let's just say there is a reasonable expectation that Liu Kang will fight him at the end of the movie or something like that is gonna happen, because he was the boss in the first game, and he's like, technically speaking, he's a sub boss because the main boss has always been Shao Kahn. Shang Tsung is kind of like a, he's like your vizier of the court, so to speak.
Yeah.
That kind of character. So we'll see how it works. So let's see if we get any more shots. Oh yeah, by the way, there is somebody with a mask on the left. So I'm curious to know who that is. Could that be Sub-Zero or could that be somebody else?
That is Sub-Zero and Molina beside him.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we think that they are probably the ones who are gonna be fighting on the same side then in this tournament.
Oh, absolutely. Shang Tsung has sent Sub-Zero to kill Cole Young's character. Yeah, they did reveal that. Yeah. I want your opinion on something. The scene just before this. That
right.
was
Let's go back.
I want to see what you think what you think that is.
This?
Yeah, play it. What do you think is happening here?
Okay, so let me go back a few more shots so I can do it properly.
What do you think that is?
I think that's Reptile becoming visible from his invisibility skill.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's basically Reptile being a proper ninja spy / assassin or whatever it is. I'm suspecting it's Reptile.
Yeah, as I said, there was the 3 leaked renders in the background, and Reptile was one of them. So it definitely is looking likely that Reptile is going to play a role in this movie, and it seems that he's really kind of like sneaking in on things here. I think that's definitely Sonya in that shot, and I think
yeah, that's Sonya.
I think Louis Tan's character's in here too, so he's just going to kind of like sneak for a lot of the movie. Now, there has been a little bit of a debate online too. Some people think that it's indeed Reptile, and some people think it could possibly just be a random Zaterran. Because you'll see something at the end of this trailer that kind of upsets some people. But yeah, but then again, it's hard to say that it's just a random Zaterran too, because for people that are familiar with the lore, basically almost all of the race has been extinct at this point. The only two true survivors are Reptile and Chameleon.
Yep.
Actually, yeah,
Chameleon is, I think they are related race, but they're not the same ones, aren't they?
that's correct. Yeah, they're both Zaterrans or Saurians, whatever.
Yeah, they're just slightly different between each other, but they're related, but they're not exactly identical in that sort of sense, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't remember all of the background, but I think that they are kind of they share several, as far as I know, they share backgrounds. That's as much as I can say. They definitely do. So I think this is indeed Reptile. So let's continue watching. Let's see what else comes up. So okay. Hold on. Now this, I am a little bit confused here for several reasons. First of all, I expect that I would predict this is Sub-Zero, but, just coming out of, smoke. But then could it be Smoke materializing? Could we have a Smoke surprise appearance character, So, because we know that Smoke is quite a prominent character in the franchise, but he doesn't appear straight away in the franchise. He appears a bit later as well. And he most of the time also he played more of a background sort of spy kind of roles. He didn't really, he was more of a cameo. He was not a central character until Mortal Kombat 3, I think. So it depends how they're going to handle the story. I'm curious whether or not this could be Smoke or whether this is just Sub-Zero showing up out of smoke as a coincidence, or I'm not sure exactly what that means, to be honest.
I'm I would say over 90% sure that is Sub-Zero. If you look closely at the eyes, it definitely looks like Joe Taslim, who plays the character. But like you said, it's just kind of confusing and very odd to me that they chose this kind of entrance for him in this particular scene. But maybe they just. Oh, what the heck? Did I glitch out?
Your camera froze, and
Did this whole thing just glitch out? Am I still going?
No, your camera. I can hear you. Okay, no, you're back. You're back.
Hello.
Yes,
what
you're back.
There?
I don't know. You just blacked out for a bit, but your audio was still going. But your video just got turned off for a second, so you're fine. Say something.
What the heck?
No, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Hey,
Mark?
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Just
we
nod
can
if you
hear
can
you.
hear
We
me.
can see you as well. Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Oh, that's strange. What the heck is going on?
Yeah, now you're okay. Just put it to whatever fits you and carry on.
For some reason, all of the audio just kind of died.
Oh, do you hear me, or Mark? Can you hear me?
1 second there, guys. Maybe I'll just try.
Okay, yeah, I think he cannot hear us. Okay. Yeah, let's wait for him to reconnect. But anyway, Har, did you want to come on for a second and comment on what you're seeing here? What do you see here? What do you think? Do you think this is Sub-Zero indeed, as Mark said, or do you think we could potentially have a tease for Smoke?
Yeah, looks like Sub-Zero in smoking.
Do you know what's interesting? I am curious if they're going to potentially scrap Smoke's character altogether for this project and might just give his part of his powers to Sub-Zero instead. I hope they don't, but it would be something that I'm predicting is possible at this point, so we don't know. So, right, hold on a second.
his name, and his name would be Sub Smoke. Sub Smoke. Introducing.
Right. Okay, Mark, you back? Are you here? Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you guys. Everything's good.
Okay, lovely, lovely. Yeah, we were. Do you know what we were just saying? We were thinking that maybe, what if they decide to scrap Smoke's character for this project altogether and just give part of his powers to Sub-Zero? I mean, I don't think that would be the case. I don't expect it because it's kind of. I don't know if that's even gonna be. Like, I think for a lot of fans, especially people who really like Smoke's character, that might rub them the wrong way if they did it, because there's also another story between them, is that they were always close friends with Sub-Zero. Smoke and Sub-Zero, they were close friends, and if they remove that part, that could definitely rub people the wrong way. So I hope they don't do it.
Absolutely. So, I think that would be a bad move. But I don't know what I was going to say before I got cut off there with the connection. I think that just maybe they just wanted to kind of change the whole look of the portals per se. You know, maybe this is just kind of the design they were going for instead of the whole fiery thing and like MK Conquest and stuff like that. They just wanted something different, and maybe it's just kind of confusing the audiences a little bit here right now.
Yeah, there's always this thing about trailers that they always try to throw some of these things to kind of throw you off the track a little bit, to kind of give you some eye candy to be like, what is this? What is going on? So it's a clever marketing tactic. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
They don't eat their bread for nothing. So we can say that much. Okay, so let's continue with the trailer and see what else it brings.
Sounds good.
Okay, I think I froze it at a perfect shot. So that's Liu Kang basically doing his fire shenanigans. And I think in a second, I'm going to continue playing, but we're going to see something really badass. I don't want to spoil it yet because I really want us to pause at that moment when it comes. So wait for it. Yep. It's very reminiscent of... in his Mortal Kombat 2 appearance, he actually turns into a physical scaly dragon when he basically eats, the opponent who gets defeated. But in this case, they decided to go for a fire dragon, which I actually think is a better choice to interpret and adapt this ability. So potentially, whoever that character is, I don't know who that is there. I'm trying to work out who that other character is, but whoever he's fighting could potentially be in a lot of trouble, basically.
Yeah. So about that, I also highly agree. I think the choice to, keep this like the whole fire thing, I think it's a lot better because if you remember in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I know the effects were kind of dated, but I just thought it looked so corny. It kind of looked like a Beast Wars movie. You know what I mean? Like seeing
it was so badly done. I mean, it didn't it ruined what was otherwise a potentially decent kind of climax of a movie that was already not a very good film, but at least they could have had a nice final scene, with the cool music playing, and all of the kind of cheesy 90s stuff that you just appreciate because of what it is, but they kind of, I think, ruined that a little bit.
They're like, here's the cherry on top, guys. Oh, wow, you're making it so much better. Oh, God.
That doesn't look like a cherry. It looks like a turd.
Exactly. No, but this is...
Oops, that came out wrong from...
But no, this looks very good. I think it was MK11 where it kind of looks like this with the whole fire. And by the way, I do know who that character down there is. So anybody watching, if you don't want spoilers, well, here's your warning. The character you see down there is Cabal. You can slightly see it here, but in a further shot in a little bit, you're going to see two hook swords. And if you look on IMDb, Cabal also has been casted. So that is who is in big trouble there. And another thing that you should sort of think about, Cabal, as we know, we're familiar with him having a very like a burnt up look, right? And so maybe perhaps that is how this movie is going to, make that happen. Maybe it's Liu Kang that's burning him to a crisp, and in the sequel, he's going to look more like the Cabal that we all know and love, with the respirator and stuff like that. Because at least in the newer games, how we became burnt up like that and stuff was because of Kintaro. But clearly, I'm having a big feeling here that Liu Kang is probably going to give him that appearance. But yeah, so that's my take on it.
I agree. I think it will be also a very interesting layer to kind of add some of the origins for the characters. And the Cabal, in my opinion, just doesn't get nearly as much love as he deserves. I think he's a really underrated character.
Agreed. Yeah.
So looking forward to that. But yeah, since it's also on IMDb, technically it's not a spoiler because people can just look it up. So don't have to worry about that. It's just something that is very subtle in the trailer. But if you look at the thing, then you will see that he's there. So curious to see how they're going to show him off, though. And if we're going to see some of his new abilities, maybe that he's going to adapt and implement after he gets burned and starts wearing the respirator kind of look, and how he's going to rock it. So I'm really curious. I hope that here's the thing. I only hope that they make him look cool and he doesn't end up looking like a derpy kind of silly looking sort of thing, because I really, really hope they don't ruin it. But otherwise, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. The key thing I want to see here with the Cabal, even if he looks a little odd for our taste right now at this point, the main thing that I want to see here, which is probably of no surprise to people, is his capabilities with his speed, right? And how he kind of almost in a way like resembles like the Flash and stuff like that, right? That's what really makes this character so unique. So I hope in this fight scene that takes place, I hope he's just zooming all around the place and giving Liu Kang a rough time. That would be pretty cool to see. So I'm very, very excited about that.
I have a prediction and suspicion, in fact, on how this might play out. If he gets burned, so at the moment we might see him just being a normal kind of hook sword kind of martial artist, right? But after he gets burned, maybe he will have a whole lot of implants as well as a result. And his speed ability might come from one of those implants, like the same way like Jax gets his super strength with the metal arms that he adopted. So we could have Cabal with, some of the, maybe like a jetpack of some sort where he's going to be able to like direct it in multiple places. So he could go both the vertical, where he tries to strike somebody from the vertical angle, or he would try to strike someone on a horizontal angle where he's going to be speeding or sliding on things as well. Who knows? So I think that this might be his later acquired thing, unless they're going to give him a superpower, making him some kind of a human with special ability. But I think his power will come not from superhuman abilities. I think it's going to come from basically not magic, but it's probably going to be an implant or some kind of other external adaptation. But that's what I predict.
No, you're probably right, to be honest. Yeah, because like thinking back right now, I remember Cabal is in Mortal Kombat Shell and Monks before he had the respirator. Personally, I don't remember them showcasing his speed back then. So yeah, perhaps it is probably going to be implemented with the suit, well, or his implants or whatever. But I don't know, like when we see Cabal in this movie, you want something that really stands out, though, right? Something very, very unique, even if he's not established to the point that we're familiar with. So I'm hoping they just have something that really, it really pops out. Because if he's just like any ordinary fighter with maybe hook swords, in my opinion, I just think that's just kind of a little bland. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. They definitely need to make him stand out, or maybe find a way to set him up for potential sequels, which would definitely be a good way to kind of further expand on the universe a little bit and give us, different context to whatever his character is going to have. depending on how deep they go in the first installment. But I expect that it's not going to be as deep on his part yet. We might get some surface level basic introductions, but I expect that his more in-depth lore will come in later if the further movies are going to follow up. So, but that's my prediction. So, let's see. So let's see where this goes. So let's carry on with the trailer, if everybody happy. Okay, cool. Let's go. Well, that didn't take long, so we're pausing here again. Now, yeah, we see that. We see that. Nice. We see that. So, this is very interesting because not as much as, I mean, here's the thing. First of all, I love the design. Absolutely love the design. They nailed him. They absolutely nailed him. And the other thing I wanted to say is that he looks so, how would I describe it?
Terrifying?
He has this kind of, what's that?
Terrifying?
Well, terrifying, yeah, but I was going to say it's a bit of a hybrid look between, and let's just say the less flashy, less stylized version of Warcraft Orc. And but at the same time, he has a very Mongolian kind of look, you know?
Yeah.
Which is very nice because Mortal Kombat is mainly the Asian-centered kind of fantasy, so to speak. It's most of the characters tend to be inspired by a lot of the Asian, cultures in terms of how they look and where they come from. So I think it's very interesting that they gave Goro this kind of badass, barbarian-ish Mongolian kind of classic look, which I really, really like. I'm curious, although I don't think he will, but I would love it if at least once they give him like a weapon to temporary grab and just like swing around a little bit, because I want to see him actually grab something really big with his 4 hands. So I'm really curious if that's going to happen, but I don't expect it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty rad myself. I would
like if you would like stake out like a pole or something like off the ground and just like start trying to take a swing at someone, like something like that.
Yeah, that reminds me of when you're battling, when you were fighting against him in Shaolin Monks. Yeah, he would just pick up that big. Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty neat. But yeah, I also love his look. It seems to resemble more of his MK9 look, which I'm definitely digging.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and so this is kind of a mystery right here. Who he's about to like pound.
Who's about to get smashed? Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm thinking is, I think that is Cole Young. I think this is closer towards the end of the film, and I think maybe perhaps that what you see here is more of his full costume. You know what I mean, and not just t-shirt and jeans. You know what I mean? I think
it looks weird though from behind. I don't understand what that even is, to be honest. It's a weird-looking jacket thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it is kind of strange, though. I do remember some people thinking that perhaps this is Johnny Cage, but I highly, highly doubt that because, like you said, the top is just so out of line. But I think they're mainly just saying that because if you look at his pants there, he's kind of got that red, what do you call that? Sash?
It's either a sash or it's not a belt. I would probably say it's a sash, of some sort.
Yeah, and that would obviously mirror his MK1 look, sort of, right? But I don't think that's Cage, though. I think that's probably Cole Young right there, or maybe who knows? Maybe this is a flashback sequence. You know what I mean? And that's just somebody else totally different. It's really hard to see.
The other thing that it could be that maybe we're not getting full-on Johnny Cage, but maybe it's going to be something that he's going to adapt as a new name in the film that we haven't been spoiled about yet. But depends. We'll see. Because Johnny Cage and this Cole Young characters, they kind of something fishy about it in the way that they are making Cole Young a little bit way too similar to what Johnny Cage sort of is in a way, I think. So there is definitely something going on with that. I'm quite suspicious that there is going to be some kind of, thing that's there's going to be him before MK and then prior to MK and during and after, he's going to adapt a new sort of image, and that might be something that we might recognize as Johnny Cage thereafter. Or maybe that would be his, second, identity. Maybe that might be another way, because maybe Cole Young might be his origin name, his real name in this franchise, in this universe that they're establishing, but Johnny Cage might be his other new name. Maybe they're gonna just have a scene where he was gonna be like, hey, like, do you want to come up with something like different for yourself, for a stage name, not that you're, this whatever, and they'd be like, hey, I got one. What? Johnny Cage. Sounds good. Yeah. Although, to be honest, personally, I hope that's not the case, because that would be the derpiest way to come up with an origin for a character. I think this should be a little bit deeper than that. I don't think it's a good way to write the character like that. So
Yeah,
it's like it's going to be on the same level as bad as the way Han Solo had his in the Solo Star Wars story, which I started watching it 20 minutes and I just left it alone. I couldn't continue, and it was just really not. Like, I was just not able to connect with this movie at all. And yeah, I'm a bit of a Star Wars fan too. So those who watch this channel, they know that I like Star Wars. The classics, man, that is, in prequels to a lesser but still kind of degree. But anyway, what I'm saying is that how they go, oh, you're alone, so Solo, yeah, okay, Han Solo. Like, it would be on that kind of level, which in my opinion is a very poor origin for a character. So I hope they don't go down that route. But anyway, I'm happy to continue if you are. So, shall we go and see what else happens?
Not yet.
What's up?
Oh.
He's got some. I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Hardy.
Just wanted to say, I hope we're gonna get to see.
I almost thought that he got himself
me?
knocked out, and we're just looking at the ceiling.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. What's going on?
Very nice. Yeah, just wanted to say, I hope we are gonna get to see Goro more than in Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Yeah, that's true, because yeah, I get the reference, because he only was like featured in some of the CGI or something like that, just like a couple times.
Yeah, more or less.
And,
Yeah, you see him every time in Conquest when they do that certain shot to the Cobalt mines. But I mean, arguably that
he could just be another member of his race. It might not have been the prince himself. So
yeah, but nevertheless.
yeah, we just call him Goro, but nobody ever confirmed it was Goro. But yeah, also another thing would be interesting is if they're gonna go with the meme of him getting kicked or punched in the balls and using his lower hands to hold on to them and his upper hands to go like that. So I'm curious if they're gonna adapt that meme or not. So we'll see. Okay, so let's get back into the trailer and see what else it brings. It seems like almost every scene we pause and discuss for ages, so because it's just got so much stuff to talk about. So let's see. Okay, that is Sub-Zero, so I think that's enough said. So we definitely see that he's trying to like do his ice power thing. So let's see where he goes with that. Speaking of, by the way, he appears to also be wearing the kind of armor look rather than the classic ninja kind of look.
Yeah.
So let's continue and see what else we see. Now, this is Liu Kang, clearly, and I think, well, based on this, it looks like he might actually be fighting Cabal, indeed.
That's correct.
Because of all the stuff that's coming out, that might be Cabal. But the question is whether this is a round 1 or this is round 2.
Yeah.
So, wait and see, I guess. So let's continue watching and see what happens. Yeah, there was nothing much to notice, I think, in that shot. I was trying to pause it, but this, I think, is...
Oh, that looks so cool, man.
That was the effect of Sub-Zero, I think, creating a weapon out of ice, which we've seen in the latest game installments, which is cool. Now, this one here, I think is Scorpion.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can tell by the eyes. How do you pronounce his name? Hiroyuki Sanada?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's Hiroyuki Sanada.
Yeah.
So, and even though I'm learning Japanese, I'm still not 100% sure how they deal with the stress levels on the words and syllables. So sometimes, and also sometimes in middle of the vowels in the middle of a word, sometimes they get silent, so they kind of skip them. So it's a bit hard for me to tell when they do it. So I'm still getting used to that. But I think it's Hiroyuki Sanada.
Yeah.
So let's see. The mask design, by the way, is pretty badass. I like that. So let's see what else.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a good chance to have a look at Sub-Zero's mask design. Now, I like that they are trying to combine, some fancy looks with some simplistic looks.
Yeah.
I think this is probably one of the things that I like because overall the costumes don't look very busy, at least not for my liking. I think they're quite okay in that sort of sense. They're not overly packed with detailing that is just sometimes too detrimental to what they're trying to do with them, which I think could explain why they decided to go for this sort of Asian/Japanese armor style, because that would explain how they would be able to move and do their fighting properly, while at the same time having something that would give them this kind of cool look, in that sense. And also interesting to note that Sub-Zero, look at his eyes as well. He's very kind of, on the same sort of vibe that Scorpion is, but Scorpion's eyes are just bright white, while Sub-Zero's eyes tend to be a bit more grayish, bluish, pale color. Teal, you would probably say, to a degree.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the costume designs are fantastic for both of them. But for me personally, the only thing I don't like, to be honest, is Sub-Zero's, I don't know, his mask looks almost a little too overly bulky for me. I find it looks too wide and bulky. That's my opinion, though.
I agree. I was going to get to that as well, to be honest. I think
Yeah.
they missed, it's a bit of a miss on the proportion. It's like
Yeah.
design is nice, but the fit itself, because his face is mostly, like it covers part of the face. So I think they could have done better if the mask was a little bit shrinked, and maybe if they got the hoodie more outside, covering the sides of the mask as well, rather than have so that the face would be overall very symmetrical. And right now it looks like it's a bit derpy because his face is like lower half just kind of goes like that. So we agree on this. That's my kind of slight downside on this.
Absolutely. And one last thing I want to mention, I really like that they gave Scorpion like that hood, kind of like in like MK11 and stuff like that. I've always really liked that look for him. I think it just suits his character so well, in my opinion. So I was very happy about that.
Yeah, this sort of like wraith, kind of renegade demon wraith kind of look that just walks around in humanoid form. So I think that's kind of what it really resembles, and that's what he is really. He's a fire wraith, technically speaking. So let's see what else the trailer shows us. Okay, so let's see if we can catch some of these. Now, I am under the impression that this is already them fighting. That's basically Scorpion on the left,
Yep.
and Sub-Zero obviously on the right. And the only question is where are they actually fighting? Is this one of their sort of potential stages during the Mortal Kombat sort of tournament, or are we talking about maybe this is more like the earlier on? So the question is here's another thing. Is this Scorpion already reincarnated, or is this Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion? Now, this is something we need to see, probably, because I'm not sure the latest scenes kind of show that it might already be Scorpion proper, but they could have had scenes from multiple different places, so I need to see what the background location is. I don't know if that makes sense, but what do you think?
I'm definitely getting a hunch here that it's Scorpion. Yeah, it's Scorpion. Yeah,
Scorpion proper, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But the location, like you said, I wonder where exactly this is. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's related or not, but do you remember way back in the trailer where we seen Raiden kind of like confronting Shang Tsung? Just kind of like the layout of that location looks rather similar to this, don't you think?
Yeah, the vibes kind of give off a little bit, so it could be very close proximity to that as well, potentially.
Yeah.
And also interesting to note that everything is frozen over and snowy and stuff. So it's almost like this was set up by Sub-Zero to kind of basically look that way, or maybe to give him an edge over the opponent.
Very true.
So it will be interesting to see, because we know, and there's no spoiler alert, but in case people are not familiar with the lore, but I would expect that it's most people who watch the movie will notice that Scorpion wins that fight. So because he succeeds in killing Sub-Zero. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to do it.
Another thing I want to point out too, as you said, that's if you're familiar with the lore, that's a very common fact. And this Sub-Zero, whose real name is Bihan.
I think it's Bihan.
Bihan.
Yeah.
His soul gets sent to Netherrealm, and he forms into the wraith known as Noob Saibot. And so I think it'd be really, really cool to really explore that character in the sequel. So I'm pretty excited to see what they'll do.
I've always wanted them to kind of take this story into the direction where basically, once the whole scam of Quan Chi's gets uncovered, where the second Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Noob Saibot would team up to basically take down Quan Chi and his whole league. That's what I would always want to see if I were to kind of go down this route. So that I think that could be a very nice direction where they could take the whole thing. And who knows? We'll see. But I mean, it depends on what they're going to show us in the story, because a lot of it we just don't know.
Yeah. But
I always had this idea of it would be cool to kind of see them eventually kind of, confront and reconcile in that sort of way, to kind of face who would be their true enemy, because it was all Quan Chi who manipulated it and caused them to become what they became. And that would be a reason enough for them to hate him rather than each other and just go be like, okay, let's go fuck this guy up. Okay, let's do it. So, okay, cool. So let's see what else comes next. There were definitely a couple more fighting moves that we will see. Okay, so the reason I paused here is I wanted to get a look at the armor. And as you can see, it's monotone metallic bronze. So, but the other thing I was thinking that, if they did, as I said earlier on, if they did like a black metallic at the middle top triangle and did maybe slightly change the layout so that there would be more wider kind of, angle look at it, I think it would be nice if there was a bit more of a, narrower kind of look to the yellow outline and kind of shape to resemble his classic look. But that's just my personal take on it. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to draw it because I haven't drawn things for ages to the level that I could make it look like if I were to overdraw this character, I would, try to show what I mean by that. But if anybody wants to do a fan art of that, feel free and let me know where I can find it so we can look at it. So, but still cool design of the armor, cool shots as well. So let's see what they're gonna do. So he basically froze his blood and created a weapon out of it.
That is absolutely crazy, man. Like
crazy and typical Mortal Kombat.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
So let's see. It's basically reminiscent of the newer games. How they just like generate weapons and they start doing them, this crazy things with them. Especially when it comes to Sub-Zero, who creates things out of ice or freezes other things and manipulates, the liquids into frozen liquids and stuff like that. So, and how he creates these different things where he slides on things, and when he creates traps, from ice, because we know that he does create traps as early as MK2. In fact, you can do the ice trap on the floor where you start sliding, and then you just uppercut the guy whenever he comes close to you. So it's very, very, very good classic Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
So let's see what else comes up.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that was like a very, that would have hurt. And I think part of the reason why maybe it didn't hurt as much is because Scorpion is wearing armor. So finally Hollywood figured out that if you wear armor, it actually works. And it shouldn't just stab right through you. So armor is not a costume. Armor works. So great. Well done, finally. Even though it's not a historical movie, but I'm glad that it is some way shaped that Hollywood recognizes that armor exists, and it works. Now this shot, I like that he's using. Oh, speaking of, do you notice that he has a sword in his right hand, but he also has a smaller, probably shorter sword or dagger? So in other words, what he is wearing here is known as daisho. Daisho is a set of swords that samurai usually wear, and it's always a set of two swords. One that is a longer reach, and the other one is a shorter one where you have a tighter space. Or in case you lose your first sword, you can always resort to your second sword. So I think that's a very interesting touch. They did that. A bit of a very, it's basically, in other words, it's very Japanese, which is very much suitable for Scorpion, because Scorpion is Japanese. And the other thing I noticed is, he is using, how is this? Is it like strapped to him, the spearhead, basically, that he's holding in his left hand?
You call
it looks like it's strapped to his wrist or something.
Yeah, you call that the kunai, right?
Kunai, yeah, kunai.
Yeah.
Well, it's like an impression of a kunai, technically speaking, yeah.
Yeah, the director Simon McQuaid also said that what they kind of implemented in this movie is the kunai is actually it's very personal to Scorpion's character, because I remember the director saying towards the beginning of the movie, when you see his wife, she's actually using the kunai in her garden for gardening, because believe it or not,
it's a tool.
That's what the kunai is actually originally used for, is gardening.
Yeah, they're gardening tools, yes.
Yeah, so I guess when she obviously passes on later, he just takes that upon himself to rather use that as a weapon, and I think that's pretty effective and pretty cool.
It's amazing. It's basically the most amazing and poetic way that he's gonna be trying to deliver his vengeance, and this is basically Scorpion in a nutshell. In that case,
absolutely.
And I would not be any happier if they do it, which as you said they will. This is the best way to look at it, and it's also given a bit more of a homage to something that a lot of historical geeks of Japanese culture, like myself, will really, really like, because they're not showing kunai as a typical Hollywood kind of pop culture trope of a ninja. They're actually showing that originally it's just meant to be as a gardening tool, but he adapted it as a weapon because he wants to have a grudge match against that character who killed his wife, to exact his vengeance, as if it was him and his wife doing it together, kind of thing. Yeah. So, like, basically, if we were seeing it as an anime, we would see him delivering the last blow with that kunai, while his wife's spirit would be right next to him, kind of holding his hand, doing the same thing at the same time. That's basically what I would expect to see if Mortal Kombat was an anime. So, and maybe we should have a Mortal Kombat anime, but that is a story for another time. So let's continue watching the trailer and see what happens. Now, I think this part particularly, I think this was not the right way of doing the get over here. There needed to be a bit more emotion into it. I feel like he was holding back a little bit, but I suspect that there's going to be a lot of feedback on it and from the fans. And what will happen if the director listens, they might do another take of a voiceover with Hanada-san, and they might re-record maybe his voiceover, or maybe they've just chosen the wrong take and they will just choose a different take where he would be like a proper like get over here, like that sort of a more imposing way of doing it. But that's what I think. I think it doesn't quite get to the pitch correctly. It needs a bit more. So what do you guys think?
I respect the fact that they tried something a little different, absolutely. But like you said, unfortunately, and like I love the guy, but the execution of it, I just didn't quite feel. To be dead honest, when I seen this particular moment, I kind of cringed a bit, and I tried not to laugh. It sounded so off. I don't know. I really think that they could have done better with it. The two biggest complaints of this trailer, as we've already discussed, Molina, and secondly, it's definitely the execution of this line. I don't know. We're so used to Ed Boon's execution of the line, and that just sounds perfect. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they could change it up a little bit, but this one just didn't quite sit with me.
Yeah, I'm the same here. It's like, and this is the reason why I say this is because for the same reason as you said, I love the actor. I'm really like digging his work overall, and I know based on his other performances that he's more than capable of delivering this kind of outburst, like like really explosive kind of form of execution, because he has done this in fact a couple times in The Last Samurai. We've seen him do his like character, when he just goes like, when he says, I don't remember what it was, when he was doing the first sort of kendo sort of sparring in the rain with Tom Cruise's character, and he would like shout at him multiple times. You can tell that this guy knows how to deliver shouting lines. So it's definitely the director's fault, in my opinion, for either picking the wrong take or just not really getting it out of him the way it should be done. So that's my prediction. I don't think it's the actor's fault. I think it's more directing and writing, or screenplay, so to say, rather than the actual, actors himself. Because chances are maybe the actor himself would be like, why did they pick this one? I've done a much better take. Why did they pick this take? Because this happens quite a lot in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Takeda, the guy who just popped back in there.
Do you want to say something? Probably, because you've been quiet.
Did you say you watched the full trailer? I forget. And with audio?
No, I haven't watched it. I was actually saving it for this.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But after, you should definitely watch it with the audio just to see what we're talking about here. The execution is very, very different. You'll notice that.
Cool.
How we pronounces the line.
Yeah, the only reason why I suspect they may have turned the audio off for the stream is because of the copyright. I would expect it might be just an automated YouTube thing, which literally happens all the time. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't always. You just never know. So, but live streams and this could be a thing as well. So, let's anyway. Shall we continue and see what we get? Because I think we're near the end of the trailer now.
Yep.
And then we can just chip in and discuss whatever else we have.
And what's also really, really cool in that particular scene there, where if you listen very closely to the music that's playing,
Mm-hmm.
it actually is the classic 1995. It's its theme, but they just kind of slowed it down and kind of changed up the orchestra a little bit. But it sounds really, really cool. You should.
I really hope that we're going to get to hear the proper execution, maybe slightly adapted, obviously, but the proper execution of this theme, because obviously New Line Cinema is a company, so it owns the soundtrack, as far as I know. So I'm hoping that the MK theme, the classic theme, is going to come back, because if anything that the original 95 film did was to introduce us to this theme that now associates with everything Mortal Kombat, even though it has nothing to do with games. But somehow people just like link them so strongly that, every time somebody hears like, oh, Mortal Kombat, everybody's like, yeah, it's that music that was playing, right? So, it kind of resonates. But let's actually go back a few scenes. Just wanted to. Well, this is Shang Tsung in the derpy moment, but I wanna wait. What is this? Hold on. Let me go back a bit. What is this? Is that
Okay.
what I think it is? Is that Molina?
Yeah, spoiler alert. I guess she dies.
Yeah, it seems to me. And if that's the case, that would be very. I mean, of course, I want to see how they explain it, but and you know how MK characters, they die like bazillion times in the story, and then they just come back somehow.
Nobody in Mortal Kombat really dies, right? Their soul just goes to Netherrealm, and it's just one of those things. But if you look in the background there, it looks to me like that's Sonya, like shooting her projectile move or something like that. But considering how, like, my God, how vicious this is, one may argue it's like her kiss of death or something. But I don't know. The way she's positioning herself, it looks more like her projectile move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
So let's see where this goes. Okay, hold on. What did I see over there just a second ago? Now, this what I think is Scorpion, who is still Hanzo Hasashi, and I think that's just him killing one of the assassins, probably.
Yeah.
So this time we actually get to see the assassin's mask, which is very interesting. That design they chose is also very. It's like a combination of the Edo period Japanese, maybe with basically just stylized with fantasy a bit more. So maybe even, but yeah, I mean, it does look like it because obviously Edo period is famous for producing a lot of artistic, sort of reimaginings and looks on things. It was like Edo period was almost like an artistic. I think like on the Renaissance in Europe, it was Edo period in Japan was like that when it brought a lot of the art into everything. So like you would have swords with fancier designs, with their tsubas and all of that stuff, looking really nice and stylized rather than more kind of dead-on, simple, practical sort of things. And I think this mask is kind of one of those kind of send-offs, references to that. And the question is that a Lin Kuei assassin, or is it just going to be something else? So depending on how they approach, the topic, will be determined what it is. So, okay, this is what I'm really interested in, and it looks like it's a reptilian creature. It could be the reptile. It could maybe not be the reptile, but I think it's the reptile somehow. And he's getting his butt kicked by the neckbeard Kano.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably reptile, but it's just kind of sucks. Like, I don't know. I was very disappointed to see that. Apparently, he's going to die, I guess. But yeah.
Unless they're gonna make it look like reptile like not the reptile in the games, but like it's reptile is just gonna be a generic name for every character of similar type. So maybe there might be multiples of them that we will keep seeing coming back every movie if they're gonna establish a universe.
Yeah, they could have their own take, and maybe there are still Saurians like roaming around. Who knows? Unlike the games, but yeah, I just hope it's not Reptile himself. His real name, by the way, has actually been revealed to be Sizoth as well. So I hope it's not him.
Yeah, that's gonna suck if he's just gonna get killed like this by Kano out of all people as well, because like I don't know, I just don't see Reptile having his butt kicked by somebody like Kano. It's just that's not happening. I mean, Reptile would absolutely own his ass if we were talking about being true to MK. So, like, just not happening. Kano is not known for his martial arts prowess. He is a brute, yes, and he is devious. He's very, cheeky, but he's not that kind of a crazy badass to be able to take on someone like Reptile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead,
thing...
Ryan.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So true.
Yeah. It may be reaching a little bit, but if you really dive back into the games, if you think back in Mortal Kombat Armageddon, the Conquest mode, for instance, um, they actually had creatures that looked, I'm telling you, almost identical to what we're seeing here. I would say maybe about halfway in the Conquest mode, when the Taven character is roaming in one of the bases of the Red Dragon camp. They actually had creatures that looked identical to that. They kind of like made their own experiment, and I've seen some comparison images online, and it's awfully similar. So who knows? Maybe in this movie, the Red Dragon could be incorporated into the storyline somehow, and maybe that's a contraption on their end. It's possible. I doubt it, but who knows?
Yeah, the thing as well to understand is when it comes to movies, especially feature films, even if they're doing like a similar sort of thing like MonsterVerse or MCU or whatever, then you're still very limited to how much you can squeeze in order for it not to undermine the basic process of developing the already existing characters there. So, which is why big projects with stories like this tend to do better when you do a TV show or anime series, because they allow you more time to focus on more characters to develop them properly if you want to really represent the depth of the lore. Especially if you really wanted something to be lore friendly, you're a lot safer with that. But of course, they wanted to make the feature film. So in this case, there's probably going to have to be compromise. But the only thing is, let's do it after we finish the trailer, and I will say some peeves that I have with some things that I suspect we might see and what problems I might have with it. But let's, if everybody's happy, shall we continue the trailer, or do you want to add more to this, Mark and Ryan?
I just got one last quick thing.
Yeah.
Now that I thought of it, though, and in that earlier scene where we've seen Reptile kind of sneaking in on them, he did use like the camouflage / like invisible kind of ability, and obviously that's what the Zatarans are known for. So it's more than likely, man, it's going to be Zataran for sure. But yeah, man, by all means, let's keep going.
Okay,
Hey,
let's have a.
hey, you. No, wait a minute.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, he's gonna say something funny, or
You know,
he was gonna think.
you know what this reptile looks like.
What?
Reptile.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Well, it looks like Hardy definitely found himself a niche on this stream.
Oh man, it's so true.
That's just so spot on. Okay, let's continue and see what else they show.
Sounds good.
Okay, this looks kind of derpy, personally, to me. I don't know, like this is where we get a better look at the character, and you can see that there is like scars on the area, which we would expect where we would see the, the iron mask thing. But I mean, they chose the wrong actor for Kano, in my opinion. I still can't quite get over it. Like if I look at him close, it's just like he just doesn't convince me as this really, both badass, but at the same time comically imposing, and because the game Kano has just so much more to his character than just what you would call a classic sort of neckbeard random dude who, it just doesn't fit for me. I don't know. I'm sorry, but no offense to neckbeards. I have many friends who are neckbeards, and that's okay. It shouldn't even be something that people should be mad about. But I'm just saying, I'm not sure if I dig this. Like I'm like, I don't know. As I said, let's give it a chance, but I'm not convinced yet. Like let's just say I would need to watch the movie, and then maybe if they do something with it, then I might be convinced. But right now, I'm not yet fully convinced.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Yeah, I really like how they did his classic heart rip fatality.
The heart rip is it's an homage to his classic fatality in the MK1. So that's that's where they, I guess, tick the box. So they know that this is what he does. So it's clear that they know more or less what the characters are and what they do and stuff like that, and they just try to adapt it to show that, yeah, look, we've done this, we've done that. This is what you get to see, and it seems like that's what they're doing, which seems so far okay. But let's see what happens next. Oh wait, so sorry. Anybody else want to add something? I always keep forgetting.
No, not so much.
No? Okay.
I'm pretty excited to see what the actor can do, though. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's wait and see.
His look, I don't know. I'm a little.
Yeah.
It takes some convincing, and I also find, in my opinion, his costume looks rather generic. I think they should have stuck with. Well, my favorite costume personally is like the MK1 version. I think that's pretty cool. But even MK3, I'd be satisfied with too. But it's a little generic. But nevertheless, the actor seems really into the role, though. I remember Simon said he was really into it. So should be.
Yeah, we have to now wait and see what he actually does with his character and what path they're taking with him, because we may yet see that, because it's clear that his character is going to be transforming through the movie. So he's not going to be this one Kano the whole time that we know and see him as whenever he appears. It's like it's just Kano and that's it. He stays Kano for whatever. This is going to be a transformation character here that we're going to see probably in this one. So it's going to be like a phase 1 Kano versus phase 2 Kano. So there's definitely going to be like different points in where his character is going to go. So, okay, everybody happy? All right, let's continue. And this is going to be probably the end part now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it.
Yep.
And we're back to the full screen now. So, by the way, I think that annoying clicking has stopped.
It has.
Oh no, it's wait, has it really? I'm nervous because it. Wait.
Don't you?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Let's. Right. So, what do you guys think then? I'm excited to see anyway. I really want to see the movie, and I just want to see what they're gonna do with the characters. Most of all, I want to see what they do with the characters and what they do with the story, and how well. Not only how consistent it's going to be in the lore, but how are they actually going to establish the rules of the universe? That's what I really want to see how they do, because a lot of times that's the main problem when they cannot quite establish the rules, and it just kind of changes, and the rules change, and the character's level of strength changes just so they can follow a certain plot. Like the way in Avengers, for example, you see how all these characters, they have these super badass powers, and yet all of a sudden they don't play them because they need Thanos to win, right? So it's kind of, that's what the impression I got from that point. And this is what I hope they're not going to do here. I hope that they're going to make it more organic. But that's my kind of personal thing. And of course, I really was hoping that we will see Kitana. So I don't know, was that end bit potentially like a multiple fight going on? Could it be that it was actually Kitana who killed Molina and thus caused her to spill her guts, whatever it is, on the floor, with throwing the fan? So.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Sonya though. There was another individual in that shot. It looked like the person was holding almost like daggers or something like that. It kind of looks like. Cole Young's character, but I can't confirm for sure who that is. It's hard to see.
There was also this weird angle that they did with it, was that it kind of looked like there could have been a fourth person on the other side, but off camera. But I don't know. It's might have been just been me imagining things, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we do know that they teased Kitana already. We see the fans, so we know that there is going to be something with it. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I'll say something really quick because I have an meeting coming up, so but like I said to you guys, like this is hopefully this is the year for Mortal Kombat to come back. And so really looking forward to this film. Um, and hopefully that they're on the same page, because we don't want like another like plot. There's such a huge gap between um, the movies and the games. So really looking forward to it. Trailer looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I really hope that they're also my biggest fear with Hollywood in general, that I haven't seen the signs of it just yet, to the point where, like I don't see any, like I can see that some people might try to make an argument that they're using, they're trying to, do the whole forced diversity by casting a black actress for Molina, but I don't see that here based on what the trailer shows, in a sense that I don't see any lines that specifically reference identity politics, and things like that. I don't see them trying to interject real life politics into it by any kind of means that they've done, in my opinion, which was a bad mistake in MK11, which, in my opinion, ruined a lot of characters there, which I don't want to get into here right now. But there are some that really, really did it really badly, and it was just not necessary. It has nothing to do with whom I agree or disagree with. I just don't like politics of any kind, and identity politics being inserted into the entertainment, because I just don't think it's a good idea. And there are some objective reasons why it's not a good idea, because we see these projects always do badly. We see that they don't tell a good story. Like, it's just really not a good thing to do. It also alienates the fandom, because it tends to ruin and go completely derail the main idea of what the universe is about, which is why I hope they're not going to do it here. And this is my biggest fear in any upcoming Hollywood project, is that they might insert identity politics, and it's just going to be like, oh, fucking really? Why? Why did you have to do this and ruin this otherwise really good product? But that's me. That's my biggest gripe with it. Everything else so far, what I've seen, I think they're going to do it well. So far,
Yeah.
looks good. Acting and casting so far, with a minor nitpicks. Other than that, brilliant, spot on. I could not say that, like there were some differences that I had in mind originally, but the fact that they found some really new and good actors for this that I haven't considered, in fact, it turned out better than what I originally was hoping to see, than what I expected, especially for Scorpion's role. Like, I'm so happy they picked this actor for him. I'm still going to be nerding out about that. So, what are your thoughts on things in terms of where do you think this might go?
Well, like I said, in the long run, I really, really hope that this first movie is successful, because it would be an absolute dream come true for me to see this as an expanded cinematic universe. Because, growing up, I've always wanted to see so much more of the movies, so much more of the television shows. And like you said, Legacy was like just more of a little teaser to me. It was pretty well done, but it was just so short, and it just left me wanting so much more. And they have so much potential with this rich franchise. Um, and there's like over 90 characters now. There's so much they can do. And so, yeah, I'm really, really hoping that they'll really just blow this thing up, man, go full throttle. And I'm very, very excited to see what they're going to do.
Legacy just left me with this, what do you call that? Blue ball syndrome, basically.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah.
So
It's about time that MK comes to the big screen, because in the 90s I was way too young. I couldn't see those in theaters with the violence and stuff like that, and so my dream has always been to see it in theaters. And now that I finally will on April 16th, man, I couldn't be happier. And furthermore, as I said already on this video, uh, the quality of this whole project, everything on the trailer, it's just exceeded my expectations. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. Like you said, obviously there's some things that could use a little bit more of an improvement, but all in all here, like I personally, I would definitely give this like a 9 out of 10. I'm very, very impressed, and man, this movie's gonna be a big one for me, man.
I agree with your empirical sort of evaluation. 9 out of 10 seems like a place where it sits for me as well, and I definitely want to see them succeed in this because in contrast to how many franchises have been ruined for me personally, I will say this: if in case, which I don't think they will, but because I'm a small peasant in the whole community anyway, I'm not really a big guy, but. I would say if by any luck or chance anybody who knows Warner Brothers or anybody from Warner Brothers watches this stream in this particular instant, the message for you is don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Because if you fuck this one up, the fandom menace will come to you as well. And then aside from pissed off Star Wars fans, you're also going to have pissed off Mortal Kombat fans as well on your asses. So don't fuck this up.
Oh, you know it's true, brother. You know it's true.
Don't piss off the fans. That's all I'm saying. Just like understand what makes this whole thing great and how this whole thing succeeded. It succeeded because it generated a loyal fandom. And the reason why it generated a loyal fandom because it was true to what this product is. It was faithful to it the whole time. Most of the times.
Yeah.
And K11 did delve into a very dangerous territory with politics.
Yeah.
Which actually made me not want to buy the game, and many other people didn't buy it either because of that as well. So we do not need Orange Man references, we do not need any of the other political references, whatever it may be. We just want to enjoy this universe for what it is. And if this universe has politics inside of them, speaking of, like Outworld, things like that, when Shao Kahn, the whole dilemma with conquest and subjugation of other realms, because that in a way is politics. But that is the same way as you have, Republic and Empire in Star Wars. And that's okay, because it's consistent with what the lore is trying to show you. And it's not trying to preach to you. That's my main problem as well, that a lot of times you see they try to preach to you, like they're trying to tell you what you should think and how you should feel about things, instead of just showing you something and allowing you to feel what you feel and think what you think, And that's what I think, Warner Brothers, don't fuck this up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other than that, looking forward, man. It's not that far off as well. It's only like 1 month and a half, so let's go.
Oh. Yeah, April 16th couldn't come sooner, man.
Oh, yes, I definitely want April 16th. I have many reasons why I want it, but this is one of the many reasons that's added to the list.
Yeah. Yeah, but about this project, though, the director was very, very stern on trying to get the lore right. And Greg Russo, the writer, he I can confirm he knows his lore very well. He's a very passionate fan of Mortal Kombat, and so I have a lot of faith in Greg personally, and I think they're going to do a pretty good job. But like you said, either way, fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
Okay, how did you want to add something to finish off, and then we'll start thanking our audience and doing the usual and wrapping up the show.
Speak.
Does he want to speak, or does he just want to meme only? No, he wants to speak.
Yeah, I'm sure after the movie we will be seeing a lot more people wearing these styled Rona masks.
Yeah, the Mortal Kombat masks are gonna make a big thing now. Yeah, after yeah, definitely. I mean, I already see. This is the funny thing. I've been wearing this before it becomes cool, so I'm gonna definitely make a video about that, saying like you fucking like too late. I already been wearing this before it became cool. So don't be telling me shit. So, anyways, first and foremost, of course, I wanna thank the audience who did tune in throughout this long what is this, stay over there. Yeah, nice. But yeah, want to thank whoever showed up for the stream. It's not the usual kind of thing that we do on my channel because it's not really fitting the main theme of what I do on the channel, but I think overall I would like to introduce this as a segment, and we can occasionally get together with the same kind of people as we did today. Depends on who can make it. Sometimes it might be all four of us. Other times it might be like 3 or 2 of us only. And yeah, we could just talk about different things related to Mortal Kombat, because
Absolutely.
since the movie is coming out and once it hits, I think this is going to generate a lot of discussions and revive the discussions of the Mortal Kombat back into the mainstream as it once was before, So
Absolutely.
this is definitely going to be a good invitation to that, in my opinion, to start a new segment on the channel.
For sure, man. There's a lot of hype. Yep.
Awesome. And I want to thank Ryan, who unfortunately had to go to work, but when he hopefully watches and catches up to this properly to watch the full stream, thank him for coming as well. And I want to thank both of you for coming to my show and making your first debut. So we'll hopefully get to see you here again, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure, man. This has been fun, and looking forward to hopefully doing it again soon.
Awesome. Hardy wanted to say something again. Go on, say it. Okay. Yeah. So it's funny how he's like, his frames just go like, and then it's like, this is how you basically adapt to when the screen is lagging. Yeah, go ahead.
I think I have a terrible lag, so I have experiencing some lag. I'm a few seconds behind you, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's
normal.
That's just how it is.
Thanks a lot.
No worries, man. By the way, me and Hardy, we met in real life when he came to London. We were smoking shisha in one of the coffee shops in central London back in the days. So if you notice that he was smoking earlier on screen as well, he was, I don't know what I was, but it's definitely reminiscent of the times. Anyways, if everybody's happy, let's wrap up the show. And once again, thanks everyone. And well, if you haven't already, those who are watching, make sure you check out the links. There's my Indiegogo campaigns there. There are also my Etsy store there. And of course, if Mark, do you have anything to plug in? Do you have any like websites that you're working on that you want people to look at, or do you do any work that you want people to check out, or whatever else you think of?
Not at this particular moment, but thanks for asking, though, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, so when something comes up, if you come back again to the channel, if you have something, let us know, and we'll plug that in next time. So, and Hardy, the same thing for you. If you have something you're working on and you want to, we can include the link to the MKC forum if anybody is interested in that. So that might be a thing of this show that we can plug in. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, and we're going to end the broadcast in 3, 2, 1.
You got caged!